Let me put a pin message in here as well.
Hello. Hello, how's it
Hello.
going? We've just unmuted on our end. I gotta go turn a camera on OBS as well. Hello, Trevor. Good to see you. This is a surprise,
very good to see you. This is a bit weird. This is a bit surreal and quite exciting. Well, thank you for welcoming the Boomer and the Boomer chat. We actually call ourselves the Unk chat over on my stream because it's mostly old men living through nostalgia. Old people. I don't want to disparage everyone else. Old people living.
Welcome to the future, old man. That's the plan. I mean, to be honest, mate, you're in for a really wild ride. You've joined the LPL at a very exciting time because obviously,
well, listen, I want to give.
Great time.
I want to give you guys my credentials quickly, right? Because I do have some opinions. I do have some strong ones, and it might be interesting for me to measure them against the actual experts. But I had the pleasure of doing most of the EWC qualifiers for China, the Chinese region, going into the Esports World Cup, which also means I got to see BLG's epic crash out and Anyone's Legends epic rise to power. Because that bracket was pretty interesting. And then obviously I've caught all of the playoffs throughout the course here. So regular season I'm missing, but I'm very much enjoying the playoffs run thus far. And I'm hoping we get better quality series today. I have been a little saddened, shall we say, by some decision making of the last few days.
Yeah, so if you're talking about quality and you're talking about the history of it as well, you don't get much better than BLG in the world right now. BLG are on the shortlist for best in the world, and I think that obviously with the online qualifiers, there were a lot of caveats there. By the way, I have just sent you an invite to stream together so we can start merging our chats and stuff, so hopefully we can get that fixed out on the way. We'll try and, folks, it's going to be a bit scuffed today. We're figuring out stuff for the first time. I'm getting some adrenaline.
Wait, so hang on. So hang on. So my Twitch, Nymaera added you, stream together invites. I've just clicked the inbox portal. Let's try to get this connected right now because okay, that link definitely did not work. Okay, if I open one and I invite.
Okay, you open it and you invite me, and then we shall
Let me see if I can
try and work things through there. Yeah.
So add to favorites. I'm adding you. Send invite. All right. Bear with us for a second. What we want to ideally do is try to get the watch together tool set up so our stream chats can interact with one another. The old people on my side can hang out with the young people on your side.
I don't see an invite right now, so do you want to send another invite and let's just see what happens with that?
I mean, this is what I'm saying. So remove favorites. So I definitely have it on my side. You are live.
Yeah.
Invite link. I've copied the invite link and I give it to you on Discord.
Okay, let's try that. That hopefully will work. Let's join session.
Drum roll. That's looking good.
Drum roll, please.
That looks good. Now you need to mute
yourself.
Looks good.
I
mean, it actually doesn't matter this on a laptop. You actually don't have to mute yourself. Hopefully this is fine. Hopefully we get a shared chat from this.
You've got to start the shared chat once you're there. If you see what I mean. Like
okay, I'm down. I've clicked start sharing chat. That is weird.
Looks fine.
Shared chat moderation.
We are online. Battle Station online. Battle Station operational.
Let's go.
This stream will be fully
operational
by the time your casting friends arrive.
Well, okay. So listen, are we gonna go? Are we going proper try hard now and like TriCast mode?
I think we do. We've just got players on stream for the interviews. Normally I let them play, but you know what? I think it's just better for us to just start getting into it now. Let me change. Let me just make sure this audio is fine. That should be okay. Okay, let's get locked in. So, folks, all right, let's get to it. Welcome everyone to a very special day of League of Legends here. Not just because it is BLG versus Anyone's Legend, two LPL champions within the last year, with a bunch of history between them over the last 2 years. We're also joined with a bit of history in the broadcast side of it too. And I mean that both in the physical and the legendary sense as well. We're joined by Trevor Quickshot Henry to hopefully bring you a unique experience of LPL. We've been hanging out as friends for a long time. We barely get to cast with each other though. Trevor, welcome to LPL. We hope it's a wonderful series for you today.
Listen, the pleasure is mine, boys. It's been really nice. Actually, since I have departed the right offices, I've spent more time with the Hapgoods than when we were working like side by side, and it's awesome. We have lovely dinner dates. It is a ADHD filled table. The three of us plus my wife gets real loud. So it's really good. I mentioned it earlier, of course, but there's a couple extra people that have jumped in. The fact that I have been able to watch a lot more of the Chinese teams competing and playing recently is great. I will be honest, I was hoping for Team WE and BLG to be the two teams that made it to MSI, because I wanted the Monkey storyline. I want to see Bin lose to Broken Blade. I want that to happen in reality. I'm aware. Listen, I know what I'm asking for. I know how delusional it is. So I am coming into this with high expectations, high hopes for BLG, but Anyone's Legend did top the EWC qualifiers. I thought AL have looked pretty good at the lower bracket games, but I want to see a competitive series. I think we've had a couple of like one-sided matches over the last few days.
Yeah, part of that has been that the teams that have been in the lower bracket have been there for a reason, with probably the big exception being BLG. Is like, how on earth did this team end up down there? This is probably what we're getting towards those teams that are getting a bit more evenly matched again. I think JDG obviously had a bit of a crash out in general. They just did not look good. That will be a conversation, I think, for another day and some serious post-mortems, because there is no way that JDG should have been quite so anemic. This is supposed to be a very good matchup. That said, it is still Billy Gaming, the reigning international champions, probably the best team in the world. One bad series does not undo a wealth of genuine talent and terrifying power, not just in lane, but in terms of their champion pools and everything else going on. And AL got a long way to go to climb to that level.
And look, we're about to get onto stage, folks. There'll be some adverts. We'll get onto the stage. We'll welcome the players on there too. And what I'm really interested to hear from Trevor as we go through the early game and the parts of this too is, you know, Sam and I have been here for a long time now. Time flies by very quickly, but, you know, we've been sat here for literally thousands of LPL games. I've seen Knight, you know, become this international superstar alongside many other players in this series. What I'm really interested in is actually how does that translate to someone that's a little bit newer to LPL domestic, someone that's maybe heard these names from internationally, because every single one of these players on the Rift is an LPL champion. Every single one of these players has had good results internationally.
I mean, listen, the biggest thing for me is if you don't know the names, it means you're actually not paying attention to international games,
that's right.
Right? Okay, first of all. Secondly, the thing that's been really fun for me is that, frankly, the stereotype of LPL craziness, aggressive play, it is still true, but I think the word that I want to use is like tempered aggression, right? I think when you still watch through some of these games, like On's Bard, first of all, it's amazing. We know that already. But a couple days ago, I think he hit Gala with every single tempered fate without even fucking trying. Like, he made it look so effortless, and it's like the impact that he had. So I look at this roster and I'm like, okay, Kale, what are you going to do? How are you and Tarzan going to work together to try to shut down Shun, who also has looked amazing throughout the lower bracket? So the big thing for me is just like, the way that these players individually play does not change domestically and internationally. They just kick the shit out of each other. The difference for me is it's really nice seeing Ben going up against people who can kind of handle him somewhat. It's really nice seeing Shun needing to run through Junja. It's really nice seeing Tarzan like working, because, you know, sometimes when you see Tarzan against let's say other regions junglers, the disparity seems a little bigger, right?
And I think particularly now you're in the LPL, the thing about that is that Tarzan is perhaps the best jungler in the world on his day. The LPL is a region of junglers. When you talk about the LPL aggression, I think a lot of that stems right now from the fact that they are so aware when a jungler gets ahead, it doesn't matter how good the opposing number is, whether it's Tarzan, whether it's Shun, whether it's Junja, no one is safe from LPL aggression in China right now. It is utterly insane. I think we're about to get ourselves onto the stage very shortly, so let's get ourselves locked in and ready for the players to come out.
These aura farming moments, Trev, are really special. The teams have all prepped them. Sometimes it's come back to bite them in the bum. BLG in their upper bracket showdown with WE had Knight sat on a Bonjour throne before they got taken out by WE. Sometimes
by the way,
arrogance bite you, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, but also not only that, and sometimes you forget to high-five your fans, you know? Sometimes you make very expensive mistakes.
Find them. and we won't get too much into that, but again, guys, that is an obligation. You don't want to do that, then maybe check what's in your contract.
Look, I explained this on my stream as well. Like, the people who pay for those tickets, that go to the stadiums, that attend these live events, there is an expectation that if you've got that front row seat, you have the ability to do so. I was unaware of that information when I read the news about the fine. So, frankly, I'm on the side of, yes, I understand. I think the fine seems excessive, personally. I I don't know what salaries are. But I mean, hey, if it is part of the ticket selling, if it is part of the event, like that's how you get people to come to Shenzhen, to come to Beijing, to come to wherever the stadiums are going to be. But we're live. Players are walking on stage.
Welcome to a very special day here in the LPL. Two recent rivals finding themselves on death's door. Neither team thought they'd be here, but while they are, they may as well fight for their lives. BLG first out onto the stage.
Every single one of these players has at some point been contesting for the very best in the world in their position. For some of them, just the best in the world, period. And one way or another, they're going home today or going on to face WE with some vengeance.
Yeah, they're led out by team captain Knight. The jewel on his chest is the captain's jewel. Each team has one. And when a team is eliminated, that little star is put onto the trophy for the eventual champion to lift. One more will be interred onto that silver cup today. BLG walking through, and you'll notice they're being very particular about the high fives.
There will be none missed today. You are locked in. Do not fumble the very basics before you get on stage. Everyone's doing it. A little nod there on. What a fantastic series against JDG. Really put Gala in his place there on the bar. I know Trevor was mentioning that one earlier. And of course, the thing is, it's not going to be just them. They're going up against anyone's legend, a team that is largely unchanged from last year, who did so well with this roster. And then, well, they didn't keep the coaching staff, did they? They didn't keep Darby. In fact, they picked up BLG's former coach.
But, one thing you have to throw out there, right? Anyone's legend in the EWC qualifiers, 2-0'd Top Esports, 2-0'd Weibo Gaming, 3-1 JDG. This is less than 3 weeks ago. So AL have pretty much, in my opinion, run the bracket already. You cannot discount that.
They need to do it on stage now. They need to do it in the lower bracket against an angry BLG. Shanks will lead out the Pandas onto the stage here in Shenzhen, NIP's home arena. Of course, they didn't even make playoffs. It has felt, from my history in the LPL, this playoffs has been the most cutthroat I think I've ever seen. We've seen top teams fell very early into the bracket and sent to go the long way to the finals. Both of these teams have found themselves in lower brackets at the hands of Team WE. They will have a rematch if they win. It's going to be a tough fight today, though, to secure that. As anyone's legend face up against what could be, despite them being in the lower bracket, perhaps the best team in the world.
Again, anyone's legend are no slouches. But we need to see some players make sure they are turning up in the early stages. You are not allowed to have a poor early game against BLG. You give them that free early game and the game just runs away from you. AL, for all their impressive power in the skirmishes, for all of their impressive power in the team fight, especially if you can get Tarzan and Kyle unlocked on the map, they do exceptional things, right, Trevor?
One big thing though, Billy during playoffs, that average goal differential during the 15 minutes has dropped to only plus 500. It was closer to 900 during the regular season. Now, admittedly, they are down in that lower bracket, but I just want to highlight, at least statistically, we are seeing a slight, I'm going to use the word fall off. That's not fair at all, right?
Well,
I understand that. That's
so
not fair at all. Especially because of what Bin has been doing, like pretty much solo in the top lane, is incredible. But I'm fascinated to see what the bans are going to be in game one. There are so many high priority bans. You don't want Tarzan to get Nefiri. You don't want Knight on anything, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
you can let him have his ear. Yeah.
Right? So what I find interesting is okay, what is the game one strategy? What are the game one bans? And then seeing how that evolves, because that I think has been the picks and ban strategies that has impacted draft results quite a lot this weekend.
Yeah, I think that particularly now we're in a fearless draft era, and the way that the Riot Balance team has responded to that is they've kept a lot of champions very strong. I think in any other year, we wouldn't see Varus remain strong for as long. Orianna, Ryze, these champions which have kind of ruled the meta for the last year and a half, I want to say. Yeah. Maybe even more than that. Some of these champions, Rumble, for instance, has been around since 2023 and hasn't left. all of these champions have to be considered in game one, and Trevor, I really like that you bring that up, because game one for me is an arms race. You have to let through something powerful, so you must let through enough things which are powerful for you to gain a benefit from that. It's very hard to choose which prediction that goes through. Both of these teams are big Ezreal Karma pickers. We're into that draft now, though, so let's get started on that.
And I think those first 3 bans on both teams will be very indicative of what we are looking at. Largely for me, there's a lot of lanes you could look at, but I suspect Tarzan and Shun will be very, very high priority here in this first game. Who gets a good setup for that early jungle matchup?
I take a look very quickly, by the way. First selection was in favor of Billy, so they elected to go red side. Anyone's legend. Also then took second pick, as far as I can see. I couldn't see what the first ban was, but I'm not surprised at all to see Tarzan's Neferi removed. He's the only Neferi I like seeing, for the record. I fucking hate watching European Neferis. They're terrible, but Tarzan's the only one I love.
Yeah, and I think, look, LPL is the region of junglers, and that's why we see stuff like the Jarvan and the Neferi banned away. Nocturne is available and is the most powerful jungler within the LPL, specifically at fighting for early camps. Karma is also up and available, as is Ryze. This is what we're talking about, the arms race. Who is getting the priority pick here from BLG? Will it be Shun with the Nocturne, or someone in bot lane, like on with... It's going to be no one.
No one. Okay, we've got to drop out. There we go. Just build the tension. Just build the tension. That's what we're going to keep doing. By the way, do you guys do predictions on who you think is going to come out? Because you've been hyping up BLG the whole time. Like, as far as I can hear, you don't even have that much hope in anyone's legend.
The way that anyone's legend lost to WE felt it felt a lot more of a large problem there, and also we have the regular season to go off of here too. Anyone's legend are going to have a huge task. Can they win? Yes, they can do, but it requires BLG to have a bad day and anyone's legend to have an exceptionally good one. I think anyone's legend have a weaker bot lane and top lane and mid lane in terms of laning phase dominance. Having losing lanes versus BLG is a surefire way to get your head kicked in the early game. So what I need to see from anyone's legend for me to have a prediction for them, which as I'm saying, I do not here, it's pretty obvious in the way that I'm talking about them, they need to have very good drafts. They need to have very good level 1 plans, and they need to make sure that BLG doesn't comfortably sit in lane and just outmuscle them.
With that in mind, it's worth noting a couple things there. AL do have a lot of creativity in their players. Flandre has always been something of a dark magician in that top lane, pulling out the weird and wonderful.
Does he trust in the heart of the cards?
Well, he might do. I don't know whether he's got the 3 blue-white dragon kill combo, because on the other side, that's basically what BLG run. They are the Kyber, right? But, Flandre has been pulling out things like the Rek'Sai and the Varus and the Vayne and the TF and all these things that are kind of more in that slightly more unusual off-meta era of top lane picks. He's very much in a good position there, even if his standard laning phase isn't so great. That creativity is powerful. The other thing that's my problem is a very strong jungle support role, right? If Tarzan and Kyle are unlocked, it feels good.
Yeah, but they're going to be, because I think when you look at how these lanes are going to play out, I'm just concerned. How do you stand toe-to-toe with Bin? He plays aggressive, in your face, has got command of, it feels like, every matchup, and then Knight does the same. Knight is maybe the best trading laner like in the world, like he contests everything. So I think that's going to be, the only thing is then I do think that's where Tarzan can look for those opportunities, right? Depending on the champion he gets, I think if Bin and Knight are playing hyper, if they are playing forward, there should be some openings for Tarzan to take advantage of.
Now, that has been something which teams have tried against BLG. The problem is, if you swing at those lanes and you miss, then you've doubled down on your loss. One of the things which I like to say about jungle is the most valuable resource a jungler has is time. And if you waste time on one of these solo lanes as they overpush and you don't get the result, well, then you're up ship creek without the paddle. At that point, you've used your agency. What do you do at that point?
So a great example of this, I'm assuming you watched the top Esports WE series, that game 1 where Tien gets that counter gank in mid and then basically gets every scuttle crab and every raptor camp from Monkey, purely off that 10-second timer advantage he gets on the map. That's the kind of thing that happens on a regular basis in the LPL. We are back to draft here. The double jungle bans from BLG. The Jarvan is very, very potent, very, very flexible in terms of early banding alongside that Neferi.
This is the same as what we saw. There wasn't a mistaken ban here, I don't believe. So we will have Karma, Nocturne, Ryze, all available. Those are the picks to watch are on my mind right now. And Ashe Seraphine, I didn't think this was first pick worthy, to be honest, but they do lock that in.
I mean, do you deny the Ashe Seraphine? Because we saw that yesterday, last game of the series. Up until yesterday, Seraphine had been banned so many times. So you have to assume just prevent the duo because you don't get the 2 picks.
Well, sometimes we've seen Lucian Milio go toe-to-toe with it here in the LPL because you can cleanse off a lot of the CC and you can fight them quite easily at points anyway. But they do choose to remove that, which means that now Viper's thinking more about stuff like Jhin, stuff like maybe the Misfortune. The Cassiopeia locked in for Shanks as well as a big pan champion for him. When he was the mid laner for Team WE, he was a huge player of this champion. It counters stuff like the Rise quite effectively in lane, so Knight will have to think about what he plays into this champion. Very few things have worked against the Cassiopeia as an individual laner.
We've been chatting a little bit about what you pair with Seraphine if the Ashe goes, and I posited a Caitlyn. Alex wasn't so sold, think it's not the best combo, but they're going to go for it here today. They're also going to take away Flandra's Sion. Flandra is one of the best, if not the best, team fighting top laner in the league. He is not the strongest laner, but his Sion is always a threat. Bin's also been spamming the Sion. I think that's a pretty solid pickup for BLG.
Most played champion this year, by the way. 6 games played, 5 wins under his belt throughout the course of the year. And all time, with all 1,100 games considered, still the 3rd most played champion, right? Professionally. So I'm with you on that completely.
So the Shen comes in now too. So we have a tank versus tank matchup. This is good for anyone's legend. They don't want a volatile top lane matchup. And also Flandra Shen it takes on from the Broken Blade build. I think Broken Blade has infected the rest of the world. This is the zombie Shen build where you go for the Titanic Hydra into the Dusk and Dawn. You apply on-hit effects twice, which means you get a double Titanic Hydra proc on someone and they get exploded.
I'm also going to put this out there. Junglers have decided they don't want the early power pick. They want the later counter pick, I think, at this point as well. They're going to see, I would expect, a few more focuses here on jungle from BLG, because I think they'll have a bit of a look in here. I think mid lane from AL to try and get rid of some of the Knight's options into the Cassiopeia. Cassio's had a bad showing in terms of win rate in playoffs, but I still think she's a very potent champion.
Yeah, so the LPL Chinese broadcast a day or two ago basically did a graphic, Trevor, which was talking about like trap picks which just don't win, even though they look strong. So the Ambassador had lost almost all of her games. The Cassiopeia was something like 0-9, and I believe the other one was Nymaera, which had lost a lot of games up until yesterday.
Listen, I struggled to figure out what those champions were. I didn't know it was Cassio, so I'm really stoked you told me that one, because the artwork blew me away, and my chat was trying to figure that one out. What was the tip? They called it trap cards, right?
Yeah,
trap picks, I think it was.
Trap picks. So it's like you pick this and you have trapped yourself. Yes.
I suppose the Yu-Gi-Oh references have been strong today, so that works too.
Xin Zhao still open. Wukong still open. Vi was actually just banned away, so there's a lot.
Yeah, and we still have the Nocturne up too, which I would have thought would have been picked up earlier. In LPL, pretty much the entirety of this split, Nocturne has been on the ban list because now, as we've been talking about this, right, in terms of LPL being the region of junglers, but what does that mean? It means fighting over camps if you have a good matchup, and especially if you have pushing lanes. Nocturne is not great at chasing you until he has his ultimate, but if he's on a camp, no one out DPSs him. Trundle is the only champion which really does that, and BLG do ban that away. The Nocturne, for me, is very powerful from anyone's legend, because they can put the Shen on his back and submarine him into the backline, but of course BLG might just use it for the jungle matchup.
Yeah, and again, I like the Trundle ban in general, because you've got a Sion. As ever, Trundle's value will skyrocket the moment you have a tank to steal stats from alongside everything else. Debating currently a Pantheon which would give you double global, and while Pantheon has kind of fallen away a little bit from being the first pick kind of priority, still a very potent jungler, especially for someone like Tarzan who loves to get active, and giving him more agency is always a potent option.
Okay, so you
by
see
the way,
the
one thing, just very quickly, 4 bans targeting Tarzan, 3 bans targeting Knight. I asked about the strategy. You're thinking about it. It's pretty effing clear where anyone's legend are concerned, what BLG are concerned about, right? So just, hint and tip for that one.
Yeah. I like this Wukong pickup if they do lock it in, because now typically we talk about the jungle matchup. The Pantheon is not that strong an early fighter. This game I think is going to be a lot about like the meat grinder, where anyone's legend is throwing the Shen and the Pantheon into melee range. If they do that on top of a Cyclone, the game looks really quite bad. And in fact, actually, Anivium might get locked in just with that in mind too, because if you fly into the low range, you know, the Cassiopeia and the Ashe, they're likely to be outside of that, but the Shen and the Pantheon can get wrecked if they're just standing on top of a Sion who's got a Q charging the Wukong, and then whatever Knight's pick is.
There's been a few different hovers here for Knight. I think any or all of them would work. The Knight Ari, of course, is probably the best in the world.
Okay,
I'm gonna shut up.
Okay,
Alex,
shut up. It's
yours.
my time. It's my time. Shut up. It's my time. Okay, Knight is the best Ahri in the world. If you discount Faker's time in 2013 on the Champion 2, I think he's the best Ahri of all time. Only the early era of Faker really contests that alongside his other games since 2022. It is a rock-hard matchup into the Cassiopeia, though. Very, very difficult to play. If you miss skill shots, you die. And Shanks last year did prove himself a good enough player to go toe-to-toe with Knight. Knight will be safe on the Ahri. It will be hard for the Pantheon and the Shen to do much against him on this champion. I'm surprised to see it locked in over the Anivia. He locks in the Playmaker. He is trusting in his own ability on a great champion for him.
One thing I just want to add on this, by the way, that I've noticed picks and ban trends-wise as I'm coming new to this, when you go look at all the champions that players have played throughout the course of the year, leading up to the most recent patches, Shanks, for example, has only got 2 games of Cassio this entire year, both of them losses. I have noticed that with the way that 26-8 onwards has played out, a lot of players are going back to champions that they haven't seen for a while. Pulling it up, like the breadth of the champion pool is going out. And that's the only one question I will throw out there. I know playing on stage is a little different to playing on scrims and playing on things. So Shanks, the pressure is on now.
Yes.
Put those boots on your little snake and sidestep the fox.
Effectively, yes. Part of that is it's playoffs. Best of 5s. People have been prepping for this for a long, long time. And the other thing is champions like Cassiopeia have been given some massive changes in the patch notes, specifically because Death Fire Touch has become a rune option. And Cassio is probably the mid laner that abuses that rune the hardest. It is ridiculous.
Okay, so we go into game 1 now. We'll listen to the Gyos. Quickshot, we tend to keep quiet for the crowd to do their things. We'll have that in just a second. Thank you, everyone, for supporting us today. If you are listening to us, wherever you are listening to us on, think about following everyone in the call right now. It does help us keep doing what we're doing and keep covering the LPL, which is such a wonderful region. We love covering it here. We love hearing these storylines and seeing the gameplay come about. Very excited to see, what Knight's Ahri can do. I think it's a difficult game into the lane. If Shanks can bully him out, perhaps Knight will get shut down in a way he so rarely is. Because we saw that already in the draft, right? Both teams banning each other's key player out as much as they can, trying to make sure that the star player for each side is not going to have a comfortable time.
New guys as well, just because you can. I hear there's this thing called a Prime subscription. Trevor, have you ever heard of a Twitch Prime? Because I don't think I've ever seen one. I'm very much a visual learner, and that might be.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, whose money is it? It's Jeff Bezos's money.
Oh,
it's not even your money. Just spend his money.
He doesn't need any more of that.
Does it? Exactly.
Oh god, good to have you, man. Good to have you. Looks like there's a little bit of a delay getting into the game itself. Typically would have done the little camera zoom in now as we go on to the Rift. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to this game in terms of these quick skirmishes. We're going to have a Shen and a Pantheon trying to split up the map. Both of these teams play very aggressive, reactive style of League of Legends to you. If you show an opening on the map, they pounce very quickly. Both of these teams were coached by Tabe in the past, not here. Anyone's Legend now coached by Big Way. He used to coach BLG as well. There's a lot of shared lineage in style and philosophy of gameplay. I love watching teams who think about the game the same way.
My YouTube was asking me, why in LPL do we keep seeing Shen picked into Sion? Is this to counter the BB build? Like, what's your take on this?
So Shen is actually one of the better tanks into Sion for a couple different reasons, but basically because Titanic Hydra is actually really, really annoying for Sion. Once you get that in the Dusk and Dawn, you're actually able to out-trade him quite hard. You also match his global quite well, and of course when you've got the Pantheon, that extra global makes a massive difference. But it's the build specifically is actually surprisingly obnoxious for Sion to deal with.
No, so particularly for Shen, for Flandre, for me, the goal for Flandre in any game is have the least volatile matchup you can, and it's tank versus tank. He's good at Shen. It's not a matchup where he's going to get solo killed. You better hope so anyway. I mean, Bin does that, you have a problem. And then just Shen becomes a more useful champion in the global ways. If it's a straight 5v5, of course the Sion is the best in slot for tanks in many cases. But yeah, the reason we see a lot of Shen as the Sion is because even if the matchup doesn't go anywhere, you're happy with it.
And of course, when Flandre does go to the volatility, it's with like weird stuff. Like here's my Rek'Sai that I've got and you've just not played enough against. Here's the TF that I've been playing for years and you've only just recently picked up. And when he does go for something volatile, it's with kind of a matchup knowledge that he has just way more experience with than anyone else in the world. So he is a bit, when he does go for something a bit odd, that's where it tends to be. If it's a studied matchup, he much prefers those tank v tanks, Alex was saying.
What's your take, by the way, on like players' mentality and mindset now coming into this? Like, is BLG the heavy favorites? We've got a tech issue. We have a delay on stage. Does this play into anybody's heads? Like, who will be more impacted by this?
In terms of pauses, I don't think either team's going to care that much. Actually, the last time that these two teams faced off, they did it in a road show at a like an electronics festival. I can't remember where that was. It was the last weekend of the regular split, and there were some tech issues on stage because you know how road shows are. When you go to a new location, new venue, things get a little bit messy. So there were a couple of delays there, and then BLG just ripped their heads off. They just ripped AL's heads off. It wasn't close. In fact, in the last time that these two teams faced off, it was the first time. Actually, this is a really important point to talk about in this draft too. So this is a great little bit of extra
nice, Alex.
Sometimes my brain, when I lose
you go down. That's
my subliminal, my subconscious will drag. So, Gavin, let me get to the point. Get to the point. Okay, so last point of the regular split, we saw BLG versus AL. It was the last game of regular season. BLG do not play towards Viper very often. He plays 1v1. He is the person who just stays safe and allows On to roam. That didn't happen versus AL the last time they played, and I don't think it's happening in this draft either. We talked about it not being a volatile top lane matchup because it's Shen versus Sion. Now, last regular season matchup, Viper was insane. He was the best player. He was the player of the match versus anyone's legend at that roadshow, playing things like the Jhin and the Lucian. He did an insane amount of damage. And now with the Caitlyn, with the Sion top lane, I feel like he's in a great position again for BLG to play towards him. Typically, BLG have had some rocky moments when they play towards bot lane instead of being in that top lane, but it looks like they're set up to do that here again.
Trev, with that in mind, I'd like to bring up an interview and I'm not sure it was an interview. It was a clip from behind the scenes of Danny speaking to BLG. Of course, Danny is the coach of BLG, and he was basically saying, look, guys, if our jungle and support are not on the same page, doing things together, we look bad and we know this. And also, guys, we can't all be heroes, especially if our jungle and support aren't flying. And then he basically said, look, guys, this isn't on draft. You know it's not on draft. Don't try and take that tone and expectation, basically.
Don't you deflect from me, boy.
Basically, because actually, you can't all be heroes all the time, especially when we don't have that jungle support coverage. You're more than good enough players, basically, to know this. And when BLG, when it has gone wrong for them, and say jungle support been taken out of the game a little bit, there is a bit of a resource allocation issue on BLG when it does go wrong.
You know,
I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that.
I was about
because
to
the thing
do a
is,
tangent because we're about to get into game one starting now. Let's hear the gyros and then we'll start yapping again. AL BLG game one elimination match. Loser is out.
Well, as expected, the crowd is pretty on fire today, Trev. They are here in numbers because, of course, this one matters. You lose, you're done.
Yeah, but
you
listen,
win. You're still not quite done.
you could clearly hear BLG got the louder cheers there, my friends. I think they are pulling more fans today in the stadium.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't hear because I don't have headset on for the PC, so I made an assumption and just tried to BS it.
Sam, as it happens, Sam, you're actually totally right. Now, locking into the game, we've actually got something interesting happening already. Whenever I load into an LPL game, I look at where the junglers are starting and where they're going. Pantheon is starting on bot side. Now, something we sometimes see is a 3-camp, a recall for a longsword, and then going out onto the map. I think Tarzan will be happy to just full clear from bot to top here, though, and make sure he gets himself that top side scuttle crab. On the other side, Shun is going top to bot. What that means is that the junglers aren't going to be interacting as much as if they were pathing the same way.
All right, Trev, I'm going to put this question out there for you, and this is one of those ones because, again, there's lots of lanes we could look at to say, yeah, this is the one that's going to matter, because there's just so many insane players around here. And actually, we may have to hold on that, because remember, Tarzan's gone for one of those potential level 3 angles on in here. He's got the red buff, level 3, and is getting behind the Caitlyn lane. That's been a tale as old as time, but has held off for a potential reset for that long sword. There was a little moment there. I got very nervous.
Which actually happened there. There was actually, I think the body language of Hope and Kyle gave that away. There was a missing ping on the bot lane saying, something's not right here. So they avoid the gank. Already, Trevor, you can see we have to lock in really heavily for the early game because these teams really want to fight.
I'm not surprised. No, they do. And of course, you anticipate it a little bit more, I think, when we look at BLG historically. But I'm not too surprised when you look at the compositions, because you do have some pushing lanes, but really everybody's going to be happy to look towards level 6. The thing that I mentioned during our pregame, the tempered aggression, is something that I like seeing. And I think Anyone's Legend and BLG, from the qualifiers I've seen and the most recent playoff runs, they are very intelligent with how and where they play. The same cannot be said for every team that I've had the pleasure of watching recently, but I have more confidence in their decision-making and their skirmish timings, right?
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, because this is a narrative which we on the LPL community side of things have been trying to fight against, because I think, remember Unicorns of Love 2015 with the Chaos-style League of Legends?
Oh, yes.
And, like, trying to fight against this kind of narrative, like, not all chaotic League of Legends is bad League of Legends. Sometimes fighting a lot is the correct thing to do. If you take Cassiopeia Flash away in this game, she really doesn't like playing this game. Caitlyn, similar kind of thing when you have to play against someone like the Pantheon ulting at you. It's a term in the LPL we call cooldown economy, where you fight, it looks like you're fighting for nothing, you're actually fighting for important cooldowns on the other side. I think both of these teams try their hand at that when they can.
Yeah, because what will often happen is, particularly as the mid-game rolls around, you'll have like 3 minutes until the next dragon. 3 minutes until Herald. You will see teams full send of people like the AD carry, of people like the jungler, to get key flashes, because then when it comes around to things like those big dragon fights, well, suddenly that poor Ashe, that poor Caitlyn aren't playing with those big summoners. Bit of a fight happening in that bot side, and Viper is going to be forced to cleanse here. The
Lila
should be just about okay. He's out. Oh my god, that was close.
Oh gosh, blew that cleanse. I see you're learning your Mandarin already, Quickshot.
Trying to.
Top lane matchup going fine for either side right now. And yeah, I suppose when we come through into these games, Quickshot, obviously we've not had any kills so far. You've talked about these teams and what you've seen of them so far as well. What have you been, if you think about these players, who's been your favorite player to watch so far out of these teams on your screen?
It's not even a question. I came into the LPL as a massive Naafiri hater. Okay, I want to contextualize this. I only exclusively watched LEC this year. I have a podcast with G2 that's LEC focused. You guys were on it.
Go watch that, by the way, chat.
Right. And I am a because I was a hater, when I saw Tarzan running Naafiri, he has absolutely stolen my heart, only because he's the only one that I give the Naafiri pass to, right? And we're seeing Nidalee popping up, especially in top lane, a little bit more. I'm still on the fence about whether or not that pass is deserved as of yet.
Yeah.
But listen, it's also just been, right? I mentioned it earlier. I came into this, I want BLG to make it to MSI. I want BLG to kind of maybe not necessarily win the Golden Road, because I'd like to see more competition internationally, but the storyline is just great. And considering Ben's bounce back from last year and the fact that he just dumpstered again everybody at first stand, it's just Tarzan and Ben. Those are the only two that I'm in love with.
Okay, so I'm just going to check in again with the game here, because one of the things I mentioned from Champions League, mid lane matchup is hard. Knight is currently down about 10 CS. Now, the thing with RE lanes against mages is you want a play to happen as soon as possible, because if you're just locked in lane, you are a less useful champion. You get a good fight, you then start to snowball, and you can get away from this kind of matchup. He has gone for the Dark Seal early. As an RE main myself for many years, this is the best item in the game on RE. You want to be stacking towards the Magi's, and Knight is the most prolific builder of the item in the game. Dragon is going to be starting, and it looks like AL are looking to contest.
Proto Belt RE, that's definitely first item, right? We have to rush it. That's the correct. That's the correct one, right? Lila!
They're going to go for the play. On's likely dead here. Flashes over the wall. Can't quite get out as Flandra burns that early stand United and gets involved. BLG greed for the dragon, and AL were more than ready to respond, Alex.
It's the first ult from the Shen. Great global usage from him. As BLG, I just think they disrespected AL looking to contest that. I think they slapwalked into that a bit.
Well, Trevor.
My biggest thing for this as well, the control, once again, is something that I really like. I talked about this a little bit. Anyone's Legend and the EWC qualifiers were able to fend off a lot of early strong laning phases, and they were able to keep their opponents at bay. If you combine Enchant and Crystal Arrow, plus the potential of either a Pantheon engage, and you have Stand United as the follow-up, anybody that wants to jump onto you, Miasma's got the counter options. I think Anyone's Legend have got a lot of tools in their belt to both initiate, to disengage, and with an early advantage already for Viper, early advantage already.
Oh,
That's
hang
really
on,
great.
hang on. This is huge just in the replay here. Shun didn't get the level 6 off of this. If Viper doesn't steal the Scuttle Crab with his Q, I say steal, from his own jungler, they have a Cyclone to work with. That is disaster. That is actually the reason they end up losing that fight. Arrow lands onto Ari mid.
I think should just be able to walk away here. Knight is just about on time with the Spirit Rush and gets out. But yes, Alex, I saw that in the moment, and I was like, hang on, did he just not have enough XP to get 6?
Okay.
You're right, actually. I thought that Scuttle Crab was level 6 Scuttle Crab. Viper stealing it is huge. We're back to live, though, on this moment. Obviously, their ult's just gone down from Knight, going for a bit of an invade. Tarzan on his Wolves, maybe contested at the Gromp, but I think that's going to turn over towards these Grubs instead.
Okay, now, you might have been able to tell this as you're listening in, folks. We're trying to just make sure we're putting things on a bit of rails here, make sure that we're all on the same page here on the cast as well. Quickshot. You feeling like you're up for a bit of play-by-play after this? We've been seeing a
let's
bit
give
of
it
the
a try.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
give it a try, right? Me and Sam can bounce back and forth a little bit, but I'll take the next skirmish. I mean, considering it's been really like controlled thus far. Somebody in chat was mentioning like that Spirit Rush from Knight. I actually think that was to get away from the Crystal Arrow. The timing was amazing. If he had been facing forward into Shanks' Cassio, the CC could have been layered, obviously, with the Petrifying Gaze. So, still really good. Shanks maintains control of that lane, plus 10 CS. And immediately we've seen that first swap, right? Viper and On move to the top lane, has been swapped with Bin now meeting the duos.
They're getting a ton of plates off for this too. So yeah, folks, it's been really special here today to draw back the curtain. Bringing Quickshot back out for like a bit more of a reunion for us as casters rather than just friends as well. Shun on the top side, maybe looking for a dive here. See if they have the guts to pull it off.
They've got 3 members. It'd be a little bold. Of course, the thing is, Flandra's shield doesn't necessarily work against all the CC. Here we go, Trevor. All yours.
Oh, waiting for Shun to engage. Puts the crushing blow down. On is only level 5. Without the Encore, you're going to be relying on some additional CC. Flandra's going to watch the wave go down and just trade some damage back and forth with Shun. He's getting the experience at least, but was denied a significant amount of CS. And the fact that presence was shown top, anyone's legend going to be able to use that time, pick up their first dragon 9.5 minutes.
Now, interesting stuff is happening here too, because the swap of the Caitlyn hit is really hurting this turret. And the Scion is so good at wave clearing on the other side. AL are not going to be able to answer the turrets. So BLG, who were actually eating a small gold deficit, have got themselves a gold lead because Bin has been farming better than Flandra. They've not been able to force Bin off of the farm. Anyone's legend want to start playing around globals. It's much harder to do that. Hang on, the arrow's just flying mid here.
Here we go again. Is he going to
Let's
land
find out. Targets will just go wide. Sam, are you disappointed in that one? But I do like the observers.
I'm a little bit. I expected that one there. I'm not gonna. I was expecting with the observer follow, as they have a lot of fun with thinking that's quite close to a couple people at night.
You could have said that was a hopeful attempt.
Very good, very good, very good.
You know, a couple of years ago, I ran through all of my A New Hope references, and I feel like we can finally bring them back out again.
All right.
Just
I think so too.
Just
I haven't heard them.
bullseyeing
I haven't heard them.
with a T16, you know.
Well, not this time because he didn't hit it this time around. The Womp got away.
He needed to turn off his targeting computer. Of course.
Yeah,
we see the progression.
That was good. That was really good.
You know, last time we met.
Out of interest,
you
just
were
quickly
the master.
before we get to this.
Yes.
Before we get to this, how many Durex jokes has your chat heard or made? What's the tone?
Okay.
Because I have many.
nearly enough.
Okay, great. Just for the record, I have several. So I apologize to my chat because you probably heard them over the last 4 days.
In one of our very first
yeah.
casts together in 2022, you talked about Larson's Corky hitting them with the big package in the face. So I feel like this is continuing an older
Listen,
cast
I also,
synergy.
After watching Tian's Lee Sin recently, I also went back and looked at his FPX Lee Sin games against G2, where one of my calls is Tian, you beauty.
Yeah.
So I got to relive some of the legacies. There's a big range, right? We go from the fuxy tuxy and the hitting him with a package to actual classy calls. Very different. But I do want to mention one thing, right? With the 9.5 minute first dragon, Soul's going to be delayed, and both of these teams, I think, are very content to start setting up for our team fights. I think Vision's going to be huge here. Look at what Anyone's Legends has set up. With the Asher, I mentioned it, with the Pantheon, they've got more pick power, and I would like to see more defensive vision from BLG.
Yeah, because BLG, I think what they want to do now is play around side lanes if they can. We've actually noticed that the Ahri is back even in terms of the matchup with the Cassio. The Scion is ahead just through what happened with those turret pushes as well. If the game goes slowly enough and BLG just get to calmly sideline without getting jumped on too much with the Shen and the Pantheon, I don't think they're unhappy. Now, they have some concerns. I think the front-to-back 5v5s, as we've talked about with what's yourself talking about the miasma and the Ash Arrow, lots of pick tools for anyone's legend. BLG, hang on, they're going to pull the ult into bot lane. Here comes the Shen as well.
Oh, Viper's got to get rolling to the other side. Trevor, how you feel about that one? Because that looks messy.
No, that's awesome. Tarzan jumps forward, gets the stun. The Ash Arrow goes wide. Take over, Sam.
I will keep rolling. I'm not gonna lie, that was habit. I was like, oh, it's Trevor's and Alex.
I know you're good, you're good. I was sitting on my hands. You're all good. With the delay, and also
I didn't see this on camera. I actually slapped Sam and said, let him play by play.
You're good. I haven't. We haven't had a double play-by-play tricast since 2014 World Championship in Korea. Joe Miller and D-Man were the last two to do it, with Joshua Jat Leesman in the grand finals. And this is the first time we've had a double play-by-play since then.
Oh man, Trev, that's going back over a decade now. That's a crazy moment.
We'll take it. I tell you what, though. Listen, Samsung White versus
RNG,
it might have been some.
Was it? Yes. If it was the finals, it would have been Royal Club.
There you
blue.
go.
It was Uzi in the second finals.
I've got exactly, and the leather jacket, the captain's jacket, had to get handed over from Dade. I think that might have been the Dade
was in the
Award,
semi-finals. Yeah, that would have been Samsung White versus Samsung Blue. So that was one of the greatest stories of all time. Yeah.
Yes, so crazy. No, 2013 was T1. They won 2013. 2014 was Samsung White for sure. Yes. I was there.
Now, funnily enough, I actually have a TikTok short about that story. It's my most viewed video ever.
It's awesome.
Times.
Sam, you take over play-by-play for the next 10 minutes, friends. We'll keep tagging in and out. But I will draw this back again. The point that I literally was saying a second or two ago. Tarzan is the danger man. Tarzan received 4 target bans. Tarzan has got the kill and the assist for his team. And with the Starfall engage, and then the backup from Flandre, who we know his team fighting power is good, those two alone can peel for Shanks and Hope to close out these team fights.
Ooh,
I actually start to get a little nervous here for BLG.
So the Mikhails just went down there. Dragon's up in 10 seconds. Anyone's Legend would love to get a second one. You've mentioned that the Soul is going to be delayed. If AL get a second Dragon, though, happy all the same. Do you have that sideline from Knight? He's actually clawed ahead in the matchup. Dragon started, teleport coming from the Shen, trapline being set up. Let's see if AL can keep this game rolling in their favor.
Still waiting on a couple big cooldowns. The Dragon's gone down already. Bin now a monster in this front line. Gets a UGC as a flash on Scion on Cyclone. Every R button under the sun gets pressed. We might be going under the ground as Flandre is put 6 feet under. Knight over the wall. The Spirit Rush resets. Hope hit with a charm. He'll not be springing eternal because he's got a grey screen to look at for 30 seconds. BLG with a masterclass.
Knight gets 2 of the kills as well. BLG were patient. They were waiting for their moment. They get the Dragon, they get the kills. And Trevor, welcome to some LPL team fighting.
I take it back. That was the best time to do a caster curse I've ever heard. BLG should be worried. Nope. Instant ace. Get the Dragon. 3,000 gold lead. Trevor, sit down. You don't know what you're talking about.
And the best thing I love from this too is, look, I talked about Knight buying the Dark Seal earlier. If you're an Ari player in chat, don't worry. I'll be yapping about this until the cows come home, or at least the foxes on the other side of things. Knight gets himself the Dark Seal and he gets 7 Dark Seal stacks off of this play. The Encore is fantastic. On is one of our best playmaking supports here in the LPL, perhaps the best one. And you can see how much teamfight impact both him and the Scion has in the front line. The Scion is just incomparable to any other champion in the game. AL try and gun him down. They just don't have the DPS. It gives so much space to Knight to dance through the backline, and the teamfight goes in their favor.
And remember, if Knight had actually had the Proto Belt, he could have won that fight much earlier, okay? He would have been able to hop in. The Malignance is not the right option. I'm telling you, this is the right direction.
Well, anyway, the town's gone down and there are some kills. Items are secondary, right?
You could literally hear the hair on the back of his neck standing up, trying to attack me.
They genuinely sat up straight, and there was like a little neck crick. You know that faker neck crick he does when he gets really stressed and there's like a bad play that's happened? I just saw that happen IRL next to me.
The thing is, I actually can see the item build. He is going Proto Belt second, and I close my eyes. I dream of Dark Seals instead. It'll be fine. I'll wake up and the dream will be over.
I think there's 7 stacks. By the way, I think I see 7 stacks on the Dark Seal in inventory once the replay comes down. By the way, also on the minimap, I will say the thing that I do like from anyone's Legend, they do have the ability to pick, they do have the ability to jump. The damage threats being Knight's Ari and Viper's Caitlyn, if one of them is picked off, by a Tarzan Flandre combo. I think the team fights get a lot harder. Now, I still am going to acknowledge it's a 3,000 gold lead, but we saw the tower dive. It is still 1-1. It is still a significant lead for BLG, but Ari can't 1v5, like can't deal with Cassio unless you blow Cassio up. You know what I mean? Like if you don't hit the charm, if you don't land the CC.
I will agree with that one as well. I think there's some real truth to that, and there is a very real world where the Wukong and the Ari go jumping forwards and get hit with a Petrifying Gaze, and it's all a bad time. The thing is, at the very least, Honor's made the correct choice of going towards the Mikhails.
Hang on, Tarzan's
first.
running at night here. You can cancel the W with the charm, doesn't land it. Ult traded there. Tarzan got a bit aggressive. Knight blows the ultimate, but with the Malignance and the ultimate Hunter stacks, not that long a cooldown.
Yeah, that's a big one. Might now look for a bit of a mid lane play as the Herald's coming down, and Hope is going to have to back away from that turret, and quite wisely so. Otherwise, Bin would have definitely be considering a flash or an ultimate there. I think, Tro, to your point as well, there is another way that AL can come back in, and they are the team with a double global, right? And there's a very real world where you just have Pantheon and Shen play to a side lane. Maybe if you can return to Knight's lane or try and catch out Viper while the rest of the team from BLG aren't there. Just have more members in a space and use that global power.
I agree. I like that word. And like I saw something in chat saying that BLG's team fights, if you are going straight front to back, are more intricate. I really like that word, right? But if you look at the scoreboard, it's 1,000 gold lead for Bin in the top lane on Sion. Every single lane for BLG's in the lead. Literally, as soon as I start that, we get a JD Esports win probability graphic here. I'm guessing that's what that is. 68%.
Yep, it is. Yeah, it's like some some computer model analysis stuff.
Exactly, but it's like plus 400 for Shun, he's up 15 creeps, plus 600 for Knight, even though they didn't even in farm, and then Viper's Caitlyn, 2 items completed already, IE and Collector, plus 1,000 gold. So you start to get concerned, and especially because Caitlyn can burn through Shen and Pantheon if given time, if Sion's peeling, if Wukong's peeling, and especially if On is landing those encores as he already has.
I really like how Bin's playing back in the side lane here. He does know that the Pantheon could be walking up towards him. He'll land the Q here. Dragon is up in 30 seconds. That is up and available. Swan onto the side. I don't think they kill him here. They just annoy him a bit.
He's going to ult away just in case, just forgets to run out. But that probably does leave BLG with a good shove through mid lane and very nice setup around this Dragon. Look how many wards they've got. It's an absolute forest of red wards. There's 1 or 2 wards just by that tri-brush in bot lane. There's one of those blue wards in the pit, but otherwise it's very dark around there for AL, and I don't think it would take very much from BLG to clear that out. They're going to continue with the siege onto the mid tier 2, and that looks pretty easy to come across. They got the 3 grubs and a Caitlyn. It's just going to go down. They stand there in the face of the Cassiopeia and take the tier 2 as Knight gets the tier 1 bot. The gold lead balloons another 1,000.
4,000 gold the lead. Anyone's legend got to be very careful. They don't want to pull out too early because they can't concede vision and control around the Baron pit. And I think when we get to the Dragon fight, Sam, you take the Dragon fight. I want to play with Baron if you don't mind and have some fun with that one.
Absolutely.
Oh, I see how it is. We're horse trading on the objectives now. This is how we do trade deals here.
Trevor's the guest. They get the pick of the litter. That's fine.
Listen, I just want dibs. I just want dibs. Okay.
Well,
I
so you see what's happened here is you've just traded a Dragon when nothing happened.
Yeah, I know. He's done very well here.
The game will probably be decided.
Listen, I set this up. I looked at where the vision was. By the way, I'll say this again as well. I thought that what we've seen from JDG vision-wise was actually pretty good during the playoffs. I think they had such great control of the river. This game, AL had, I think, very good river control in the bottom quadrant of the map before that massive team fight, and now they've extended that to the top quadrant, playing around the Baron. So I'm intrigued to see how this vision game will play out. And Tarzan's going to find the first little engage. Shun's going to decoy away to safety. The taunt flash will be evaded as Shun gets to safety. Shanks has come in with that petrifying gaze. Bin steps forward. Not going to be able to delay or set up any further fights. The damage onto Viper was too great. Cleanse was used. Flash is available. Anyone's legend, they looked for the pick, but they did not find it.
Yeah, they're going to get the Scuttle Crab. They're actually going to start the Baron because Shun is very low HP here. The Wukong being low HP might just make them give that thought. They can take the big objective away from them.
Eyes on Hope.
Sam,
and they're going to go
Alex,
for it.
they need protection. Anyone's legend has to remember the protection. Tarzan went
hang on.
top lane. Tarzan went top lane.
What?
Listen, we've seen this already. The Shen ultimate onto Pantheon and arriving at the wrong time. Shen, you can't blow your load so early like that. You need to be able to land those engages.
Well, Trevor, the best way to be protected is just to avoid the fight completely. I mean, we're League of Legends players. We know this very well, of course.
Okay, I will bring the PG rating down a little bit. That was a bit overlight even for me. But regardless, I think that's pressure. I hope we get a replay of that because the observers have been amazing at highlighting when the mistakes happen. That felt like that was a massive mistake.
I mean, looking at the pings, there was a lot of like danger pings. I think the team was like, what are you doing, mate? So I think they felt very similarly there. That wasn't great.
We did just watch, you know, we're talking about this high-level gameplay and the two historic teams. Tarzan just ulted backwards on a pat. He just ulted backwards on a panty. There's no way to sugarcoat that. He just ulted the wrong way.
Also, I'm going to put a word out there for the double play-by-plays in this call right now.
Which is yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So we've both now had... I had a dragon fight, and Trev had a baron fight, where very little happened in the grand scheme of things. No one has died, and I want to put in a formal complaint, Trev. What is going on here?
Listen, I think what is going on here is that anyone's legend entered one dragon fight, and now they have to sit on the back foot. They can't engage. They don't have the damage, and they're in such a bad position that they have to jump away from engages, right? No, but more seriously, I think you can feel the nerves. You know, the stakes of the game, elimination match, the winner faces Team WE next Saturday, and the winner of that series then gets to go to MSI and sit in the finals, right? Against top esports. But I kind of mentioned at the beginning, talking about maybe some of the nerves in Shenzhen in front of the thousands of fans. And Knight, with that Pro belt, his life was saved by it. You just need to stop being a hater. It is the correct, item choice.
Yeah, and this is why you should build like a Banshee's Veil, and maybe a Kaenic Rookern. Let's get creative with it, why not?
He was saved by the Proto belt, but I think, again, we didn't get a replay of that Tarzan jump backwards. What could have been if that kill had landed, if something had gone more AL's way, but they're just in such a massive hole now that they have to play defensive. So Sam, you and I can just get comfy. It'll be a while.
You can do, which means I get to yap a little bit more. Dragon up in a minute and a half. We haven't seen a big fight since that last Dragon, which AL lost. Tarzan with the passive fully stacked up. He's still relatively strong on the Pantheon, but there's a 2-item Wukong on the other side. Both these junglers are in great position to team fight themselves outside of just the carries. To BLG doing a really good job, or at least did a really good job of fighting front to back the last time. The value of the Seraphine in these late game fights is so annoying because you can actually ping the Cassio and the Ashe in the back line at points. I do wonder whether anyone's legend give up this next dragon with the way positioning though. There is a minute to it. I wouldn't want them to give it up. I think giving over Soul Point is a bad thing, but a little bit worried that anyone's legend is setting up late for the dragon. A minute and they've not got any position on the bot side of the map. That could really come back to burn them.
They were going to set up, it would be around about now. You can see Ons throwing down a ward in the back of the Baron pit just in case. Aggroing the Baron in case someone was around, waiting to have a ward. Not going to happen on that front. So if we were to see a contest, AL will be setting up Vision right about now, Trevor.
I think the big concern I have here, Rapid Fire Cannon sitting with Viper, completed that third. He's a 1,500 gold up on Caitlyn, right? Has had, relatively speaking, no threat whatsoever. BLG moved him out of lane first, has been shuffling him around to pick up the additional tower, the additional 2 towers over anyone's legend. Dragon's up in 5 seconds, but this is only the third. This is the Soul Point. So Dragon Soul's going to be still in several minutes away because we started it a little later. And you can notice on the minimap, Bin could line up, could transform and charge here into the top lane.
You two play-by-plays have now got to start making a decision because I'm seeing some very tense vision skirmishes here.
It's on you, Sam. You take this one. It's all you, buddy.
I was about to give you the stick. This is, I can't believe it.
No. Let's just bounce back and forth. Let's just bounce back and forth. You take this one, I'll take the next one.
Hell yeah, that works just fine for me. And as it stands, that little bit of tension resolves very, very kind of to limited avail right now. Tarzan still standing this bush, bit of a fanatic play on the other side of the world. We'll see whether Shun falls for it again. Nearly cost his life the last time he went to look into that bush, but BLG don't fall for the bait, and it all kind of fizzles out for now.
Yeah, I wonder whether the tension is lowering the action a little bit in game 1. BLG have sometimes been a bit of a slower game 1 team. Now, Baron is being started. Caitlyn's on the bot side of the map. The Sion can ult to join them. The Ari's within range. Of course, Shen has the global. He's got a bit of a tug of war here. BLG making sure that they're not committing too hard to the dragon. Baron is peeled off. Free dragon for BLG. AL do not contest. We did wonder about that. They'll give over the Soul Point.
I'm proud of
BLG
AL.
Got it later.
I'm proud of AL, frankly. Like, look, that team fight went so bad for anyone's legend in the jungle.
Tarzan?
The fact that they conceded it, 5 kills were down. Flandre and Tarzan are delivered, but Flandre was able to get over the wall, and Shanks just poisons Fangs picks up the kill. I think Baron is being set up next, Sam.
I completely agree, because again, they've lost the sole point, but they're going to TP in here and look to play the 4v5. You were chatting about the fact that Viper is giga strong right now. Has got that 1500 gold lead, taking him off the board, gives you license to start this up. There's a good charm onto Shanks, but it's not necessarily the major target. As Tarzan gets a big old shield, and the Wild Growth, and the Stand United. Knight still managing to backtrack well for a second or two on left low, not taken down by that Titanic Hydra. Dusk and Dawn bursts, and everyone else survives. AL tried to pounce, tried to turn, don't get what they're looking for.
This could just genuinely be a single pick onto Viper, changing the game. Anyone's Legend don't have to face up against the Caitlyn. On's ult is down, Ari's ult is down.
Trevor, all you.
The Baron is the target. Shun is making his way from behind. Cyclone and Flash available. 6,000 hit points. Cyclone proc 1 used. Decoy outside. The team is split. Anyone's Legend focusing down Shun, and Shanks gets the kill. Twin Fang securing the second for him in as many minutes. But now Bin goes Giga. Manages to pick up the kill onto Tarzan, but he hasn't got the damage dealers. It is all hope and Shanks all day. The Baron has been stopped. Anyone's Legend are closing that goal gap.
But Viper threaded the needle onto Tarzan. Where was the body block? To Anyone's Legend lose a kill for no good reason. Now, BLG do stop the worst case scenario, which is the Baron going over and the gold really starting to go back in favor of Anyone's Legend instead. It was a pick onto Viper who was out of position on the bot side of the map. The globals were used well by Anyone's Legend. I can't help but feel, though, this should have been a game-winning moment for Anyone's Legend, and they don't get what they came for. Somehow Tarzan ends up dying. Baron doesn't go down in their favor. Now, Shun has a good dive onto the backline. He ends up dying for it, but at least it draws their focus away from the Baron and DPSing it down. It stops the objective actually going over, while Bin then takes things up on the front line. This is just unacceptable, though. Tarzan goes down because no one body blocks for him.
Yeah, Flounder and Shanks both could have done that. At least Shanks comes away looking like he's picked up a lot of gold. He's now ahead of Knight. He's 4-1. This Cassiopeia, for all that she's been a bit of a bogey pick in playoffs, is looking like she maybe has the teeth, or I suppose fangs, to really punish BLG at this point.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to, by the way, judge BLG. I think they were greedy. I think Shun going for the Cyclone to pull Anyone's Legend out of the pit felt odd. You had Bin, you had Shun able. They could have lined up side by side. They could have comboed the AoE CC and tried to push LL away. Yes, it was a 4v5. Don't get me wrong, but I don't like that play from Shun. He kind of almost donated the kill in some ways.
Here we go. Anthony's coming in with the Shen. Here we go.
As the encore down, it's well timed, and this time the petrifying gaze! Shanks from the flank, the snake waits in ambush. Bin on the other side needs to start running away. Sun cycloning to disengage for a second or two. Bin not looking all that healthy as the Twin Fangs keep firing. On with Flounder on top of them as gets eaten alive. Does fall down. The Blasco not enough to save Knight running away. And AL are out team fighting BLG.
They're playing the map better. That Cassio came out of nowhere, and Anyone's Legend this time they're gonna get the Baron.
I called it. I called it. I called it. I like Anyone's Legend's compositions. I think BLG need to be too cautious in protecting their damage dealers. And Shanks out of nowhere. What was that? A 3-man petrifying gaze?
It was completely out of vision. I think it was a 3-man. Yeah, I mean, Viper gets caught out again, and BLG... Look, when you're against a composition like this, with the double globals, you have to be so aware of where that punch is coming from so you can respond to it appropriately. They've not had the vision control. They've not been able to get into the enemy jungle to force things down. And Shanks has just built up a Medraz on his 5-kill Cassiopeia. Started with the Pantheon Shen coming through. Encore does land. I'm just not sure it's that valuable, though. Great play from Shanks. Full globals used with the teleport. Well, no teleport actually used in there, but Shanks gets off the unseen angle. Great play from Anyone's Legend to get on top of the Caitlyn again.
It works out so well, and then basically Flounder just gets to keep running at the support. They try to blast cone out, but again, at this point, the Shen actually has a hell of a lot of burst and just keeps autoing away. They've now got Baron to try and finally get through this mid lane turret, and Trev, we've got a potential soul fight for BLG. We'll see whether they can contest it. Knowing BLG, they likely will.
I don't think they should. I don't think they should, though, right? Look at the vision. I love what the observers are doing. They've highlighted that BLG have to fight into the darkness. You can see now that Anyone's Legend's minions are now Baron flavored, and they're trying to unlock this middle tower, right?
Yeah, I think
but that single control ward in the red buff, BLG, they do have an option.
Yeah, I think what BLG wants to do is just try and buy some time. He's teleporting for the role quest here. It's not just the, the Billy Boss TP. He's teleporting forwards for the shields. Now, BLG, if they can find a front to back, I think they're actually favored. Reminder, the gold is still in their favor. They're trying to waste some time from the Baron buff here. They need to be careful about how they approach Fog of War, though.
Dude,
Look at the Caitlyn traps. Where are they being set up? Dragon is alive, Sam. And that Baron's already down to 1.5 minutes. For BLG, this is for Cloud Soul. Now, volleys going out one after the other. The observers are showing Flandre looking for the taunt on the side lane. Shanks steps forward. Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Pantheon jumps in. The Wukong ult is defensive. Bin gets turned into a Munchkin. And as Kale is continuing to push him forward, that's the kill onto Knight. Now it's all on Viper. He's going to be able to dash away with the 90 caliber net. Flandre is dropped so low. Tarzan looking for the snake and will take him down before Bin is focused next. And it is anyone's legend taking all control.
Another monster team fight from anyone's legend, back-to-back Herculean wins that will erase the gold lead that BLG had. They can turn with the remains of the Baron to these tier 2s and looked at things like the inhibitors, denying the soul and potentially taking this game well out of reach of BLG.
It's been a wonderful set of team fights from Anyone's Legend. We were wondering whether Anyone's Legend could work in the 5v5. They absolutely can. They're low HP, but they'll be able to take the inhibitor at minimum. Dragon is still alive. BLG might be able to get a contest on that, actually, off of these resets from Anyone's Legend, but the base is broken and AL have such a big goal swing in their favor now.
Soul is still a target though, keep this in mind. I think if you do give an Ari the ability to have Cloud Soul as well as mobility on BLG side with the Wukong sign, like, there are possibilities here.
Go back into this replay. No, the miasma from Shanks is huge in just a second, where you can see he gets the Petrifying Gaze, and then the miasma stops Knight, who had ulted into the Casio, and then, of course, gets gunned down by the Ashe. Really good play from Shanks again. It's one of his most iconic champions, this Cassiopeia. He has a ton of kills on it. He's having an excellent game here on the Cassiopeia. We come back to live.
Back to live. I'm going to steal the mic this time around because Tarzan's going to find a shield vault forwards, looking for potential flank angle. Is the rest of BLG. That Onco's kind of nasty. Hang on. AO hasn't got the phalanx properly presented. Ingo should with the cycle. The wild growth denied. The Petrifying Gaze. The snake gets defanged. Anti-venom secured. Viper looking for some more 8s in the holes. Keep looking for the damage as BLG aren't done yet in this game. It's only the one kill, but it's a key one. Knight looking for a little bit more. Does have the flash. Doesn't want to burn the charmers yet. The fight might still continue. Vision control good for AL, but this might still deny them soul.
Billy.
I mean, this is going to get them soul now. I think the Cassiopeia, huge part of the damage is down. Knight doesn't have his ultimate. It's a third on cooldown. Has the flash for the charm. Here comes the Shen Pantheon.
We go again. Viper 90 caliber. And when they've interrupted him, he's going on. Trevor, it's getting messy again. Tarzan with the GH. Look at the Nexus. Look at the Nexus. The minions are taking away the turrets. This is messy. Hope goes down. Viper standing. Bin and Knight are here. They want soul, but someone needs to stop the turrets. This is complete chaos. God, I love the LPL.
Soul is secured. Soul is secured.
Soul
secured for Billy. Knight is continuing to chase forward with all of the tools, including that proto belt. He shuts Nymaera down, but the Nexus still stands. Only one tower has fallen, and the game is blown wide open. Billy can still win this game.
I wonder whether AL made a mistake in going for that top lane inhibitor, folks. I wonder. They chose the inhibitor over denying the soul. I think they got greedy, guys. I think they got greedy, took the inhibitor over the dragon, and wow, yeah, what a wonderful proto belt from Knight. That was surely the difference maker in that fight.
Also, by the way, the bigger thing is, like, the fact that BLG were able to keep threatening AL in the river. AL didn't start the dragon. AL didn't push the bottom lane. AL didn't have side lanes pressuring with that Baron, so they missed 90 seconds of it. And then, yes, the only thing they got was top. But BLG, I don't want to say they mind-controlled AL, but they definitely influenced their decision-making.
Yep, I think AL got greedy. They wanted to get everything. They wanted to take that fight where they were feeling so good, having just done the same at Baron, done the same at Dragon. Turn up, get the inhibitor, turn back to Dragon and play it out all again. It'll be just fine. It doesn't work out. They lose Shanks, they lose the soul as a result. And what was looking like a great game state from AL has suddenly come right back more towards even again.
Okay, so Baron is respawning in 20 seconds. We have just so many items everywhere. Viper, the LDR, is doing a ton of damage. He actually had damage Hope in that last fight as well, fighting over the Scuttle Crab for Vision, although been punted away with the Roar the Slayer, which is actually quite unhelpful for his team, might I add there, means that they can't secure that. Vision control for AL around the Baron.
This is going to be very scary for BLG because they really don't want to concede the Baron. If they do get backdoored, that's a problem, right? It's going to be so easy to just slide into that top lane here for Anyone's Legend. They've got the vision control in the Northern Quadrant. And remember, the Grand Starfall from Pantheon, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They've got the options to set these plays up.
Baron started.
Instead, it's going to be defensive. BLG started this one. The Caitlyn traps are set up. This is a straight front to back. Bin gets taunted in front of the trap line. BLG are pulled away from Baron. Baron has now been enlisted by anyone's legend. Grand Starfall now starts to get channeled. Drops down. Lila with the stand. United bringing him in. Bin continues to take Hope's arrows over and over and over. And Shanks is sitting on the petrifying gaze. They've pushed BLG away.
We have a ton of cooldowns being used there. A lot of ultimates, the big globals from anyone's legend. BLG can teleport back in with the Scion, make him full HP. They're pushing out that top lane again. Baron has started. Where is the Scion? Is he going to come back in? Yes, he is. He's teleporting just into that tri-brush at the top side.
You've got to protect your tentacle monster. You have got to protect the tentacle monster. Flandre doesn't get the taunt on tonight. The tentacle monster is down to 50%. The traps are starting to time out. Hope's Crystal Arrow is 75% available on cooldown once again. This is Burger Flip, 50-50. Baron interrupts at the smite is secured. It's picked up by anyone's legend. They've got the buff, but at what cost? Shanks is going to start stepping away. Flash available to him. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is up in 1 second. 5 defensively. And Bin is going to transform, getting the flash out of Shanks. Petrifying Gaze is on cooldown. Decimating Smash slows them down. And Flandre might be able to solo Viper, but he doesn't. He gets caught by the trap, Sam.
It gets at least 2 back to BLG, but it's still Baron for anyone's legend. Tarzan with the hero play. The problem is they have now got to play the man disadvantage here as the base is being looked at. Maybe this still comes back to bite them in the long run.
How much are they going to look for here? They're going to get the inhibitor minimum. There's 40 seconds on the Shen, which is a big part of their front line. Shanks has got to do the damage. He's got to do the wave clear.
They're going to look at these turrets now as Hope steps forward, trying to get on top of those that flash away from the Encore. Important that Bin in the front line, but again, Shanks is here with all the DPS. At this point, BLG are going to be warded away from those Nexus turrets. There's a TP into the base. BLG have been kept away from their own base. There's Baron, and Shanks is looking for at least the inhibitor. That gets
the back door.
at a minimum.
Baron empowerment. Now, can the rest of anyone's legend slow them down? The inhibitors are going to be spawning. It is still 2 minutes on the clock, and anyone's legend have already done more with this Baron than with the previous one. So good job to them.
Okay, so backdoor is averted. Knight gets the recall off. Bin ends up ulting towards the base. We can turn the temperature down just a little bit. There's 2 minutes now on Elder. The Baron power play from anyone's legend is still negative. Now, of course, they still stole the Baron. That's still a good thing for them. It meant that it wasn't the end of the game. That was very, very close, though. You can see how decisive each of these teams are. Anyone's legend, when they got their big fight, they went straight towards the inhibitor. BLG, they did the same when they got that fight. Even though they didn't get the Baron, they went straight towards the mid lane as well. Both of these teams are going for the throat every time. It is a problem, though, when they miss. We are left in a very broken map state, and inhibitors down on either side.
And one thing just to note here, itemization-wise, Tarzan has come back now with the Guardian Angel. Flash is not available for Shanks and Hope. That Cassio and Ashe are somewhat under threat. Knight, however, has his available. If you assume that with supers in like one or either lane, one more pick, one more fight determines this. We are going to set up for an Elder Dragon fight. And I think it's fair to say anyone's legend have set a better preemptive vision for most of this game, and they're looking at the river once more. Sam, this Elder's all yours, my friend.
Thank you very much for that one, Trevor. I will take it with the due reverence. I was just noting there, sorry as I interrupted you briefly, that Shun was being donated a lot of gold. I think they're trying to get him to Death's Dance before this fight. They've not been able to do it. And the level 18, yeah.
Okay, 20 seconds on Elder now. Shun's off vision. He does have flash. This could be a flash cyclone angle. Bin's looking for something onto Tarzan. Watch Shun. That cyclone is off vision. Spotted now.
He's in the whole use for a bit of a pro, and they're going to get the encore onto Tarzan. Hit with a double beat drop. He gets wild growth and survived, but is down a couple key ultimates now on both sides.
Dragon still up in just about 10 seconds. BLG taking the inside track towards mid lane, actually. Hang on, Aeon, you need to get back to defend the base. This is looking dangerous here.
They really do get rolling. Hell, they've got a Faker signature in the base from where that Ari's got that one down. One extra Aeon need to be here now. This gets spicy. Stands United on top of the...
Let's go! Let's go! They've done it! They've done it!
BLG legitimately just walked through mid lane and end the game. I cannot believe... I do not believe it!
Oh, sorry, was D-Man with this cast again?
You know, we've got some Brits in here, we've got some double play-by-plays, felt only right. Well, that is not the way I thought that game was going to end, folks. What a wonderful way to end out that one. And, of course, wonderful to be joined, for those of you in chat as well, by Trevor, Quickshot, Henry as well. That was great. I really enjoyed that, folks.
Listen, obviously, if you are following, I know Alex and Sam have been really gracious to me to allow me to join the stream. Drop a follow, like, comment, please share the word, let us know what we're having some fun. That was awesome. And I will say, that is kind of what I was like alluding to from the games that I have seen. the laning phase was super respectful. We got to 2 or 3 dragons with like, it was just map plays. It was tower pressure. One team fight goes BLG's way. It puts us on a 20-minute timer. But AL, they found their picks. They used their comp well. And either team could have won the game. And it felt like if you pick a different timestamp, you could say which team was in the lead and who was favored to win at those minutes.
And I'll shout out to Nymaera in chat, who's a really big LPL enjoyer. It's actually been around on some of the LEC roadshows as well, giving out a load of LPL merch to fans of the LPL. It's really cool to see. But they're also one of those people who's really locked into all the interviews and gets all the translations. And got a really good quote from Knight saying, hey, Knight was saying that they reckon that AL were going to be scarier than JDG because AL are just better team fighters. And it kind of showed here today. I actually think AL, considering they were in some pretty scary spots, had a couple back-to-back team fights that were terrifyingly close to getting BLG out in this game one. That Dragon play, that Baron play, that was winnable, Trevor.
I agree entirely. And I think anyone's legend can put up a good fight today. I think when you see the comp, I also think there was potentially a couple more options with like the Pantheon Ashe that could have come in. Nymaera, I think you said it so beautifully, like first game, stadium, elimination nerves, like it felt like they were a little more hesitant than sometimes I'm expecting.
And this is just a tangent. I genuinely think BLG won that game because of Cloud Soul, because they could walk down mid so fast. I know it sounds so pedantic or small. The reason they won that game is because they got the inside track on mid lane and walked at the Nexus really quickly. Legitimately, that's why they won that game. This is one of those games where that might get swept up in the craziness of it. I thought AL were a little bit late to start on the Elder, but they did get there, and then BLG had to do something. Yeah. I actually think that's a Cloud Soul diff. That's crazy.
And also, don't forget that Proto Belt helped Knight get down that lane quicker as well.
Yeah, okay. I'm so glad we only get the one game of it.
Do you know what I love? Because I legitimately, I love you guys so much, and I particularly like this fucking harassment of.
Oh yeah, Sam loves that too. Don't you worry.
I'm gonna clip out that Knight Proto Belt to get away from Hope's Ashe Arrow as like undisputed evidence that it worked.
The thing is, when I have some power over the channel, right? I can get in, I can mess with stuff. There may be a little bit of an addition where I just start doing all the subscriber thing. They're just the rocket belt away.
Next time we log in, there's going to be like the new emote's been added to the channel. It's just like Nymaera Proto Belt, Nymaera Belt.
I will say this. What I'm happy about, I'm happy to see Shanks' Cassio and what he did this game. I think he was really not necessarily in a lot of threat. Like the game kind of played around him. Sometimes I think he had great impact is what I want to say. And I think that's a good sign for anyone's legend against Knight. But Tarzan also received 4 target bans.
Hey, can I just
and I
quickly
still think he had a
point out,
relatively good game.
Look at the gold graph that's on screen.
Yeah.
What is that? That is Alton Towers. That is like Universal Studios. That is some G.
No, hang on. It's too British. That's too British. Alton Towers. People don't know what that is. You've gone from the Mariana Trench to Everest.
You know what it is. So of course something's right.
I like that.
Well, folks, this has been game 1. Obviously, we're trying something a little bit new. We really wanted to bring Trevor on because Trevor's got the co-stream rest of the LPL, and it's nice to kind of form a little bit of community connections. You know, it's not just co-streamers doing things alone; it's doing something together as well. It's been really cool to be doing this. How are we feeling, folks, about casting for the rest of the series? Obviously, a bit messy in there. How are we feeling about things?
I was feeling pretty happy with the... Yeah, I did too. I mean, again, there was that one in the river where I was like, whoops, I stole it. And Alex, like, what are you doing? It's like, oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But old habits die hard.
I think it was quite nice. It's like, I think we just communicated directly and we'll trade those objectives. We ended up having a kind of a nice balanced game, I should say, in terms of being able to trade for the play-by-plays. Let's do another game if you guys are down for it and see how it goes from there.
Yeah.
But I also think I'm just really, really stoked that I get to see the styles of anyone's legend and the star players in the very opening game step up.
Yeah.
Tarzan's the danger man. I think BLG are the favorite team here. I think BLG have much more going for them to actually win the series. But really good to see the draft and the approaching game 1. Can anyone's legend do it again? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how much faith I have in them as we go deeper into a series. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the deeper it goes into the series, they'll start testing champion pools very hard in Fearless, and BLG, on the whole, across every role, I trust them more across champion picks, but AL, they are LPL champions. They've won a split in Fearless as well last year. This was a game which was quite low action. Top lane was very low volatility. Mid lane was a good matchup for Shanks. I think a lot of things went well for Anyone's Legend in this game, and they still lost. That's my worry for them. I actually think this is one of the high roll scenarios for Anyone's Legend, and they still couldn't close it out. That's my worry.
No, that's not what I want to hear, Nymaera. I want to hear that we're going to go 5-game series.
Okay. Oh, for God's sake, look.
Come on, this is the difference between your Kings, Legacies, Dynasties in the LEC and the raw, cold, hard facts of the bloody LPL. Sometimes a team is really good at League of Legends, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm aware. I mean, look, I'm really enjoying watching the replays as well. I mean, even when you see Tarzan getting over the wall, I'm not quite sure if the Baron interrupts really had a significant impact on the play. Still ends up stealing that Baron. But Cloud Salt, please use Protobelt. Please use Protobelt. If Knight uses Protobelt, I'll be so over the moon.
No.
I'm watching so close. No. Shanks TP'd mid as well.
He tried to do a Marin and tried to
the wave. Yeah.
Oh man, and there was still there was still minions in front of him. I'm just
that was such a great call.
I didn't see a Protobelt used in there, so clearly it's an awful
item. Yeah, fine. You get 1 point, okay?
Someone in my YouTube chat has actually coined the term, by the way, rage belting.
Yes!
That is the emote, by the way.
Great.
Trevor, I'm just going to say, it is so good to have a compatriot and just winding Alex
you and me
up.
both,
Like,
buddy.
it is,
Listen.
Beautiful.
We got to spend a lot of time together learning, senses of humor when we worked on EWCHQ, and I'm a big fan of making fun of Nymaera.
It's a wonderful pastime.
He just needs to learn from Knight. One of the best players in the world. He just won the Protobelt.
Best player of the game. Isn't it wonderful? Look at this son. Player of the game. I think he did a great job in the front line. What do we think about Ben?
Well, I think if he plays Ari top and gets a rocket bow.
Shuts.
Am I allowed to take a couple minutes to move? I know we've having a bit of fun, but can I take a couple minutes to ask you guys some questions?
Of course you can. Cool. Yeah, we should do that.
Okay,
so Sam, can I also get a coffee at some point too as well during this break, if that's all right?
In that case, I'll let you go to lunch and I'll do a coffee run.
We need to actually just reset a couple things. I got to go on an ad break. Do you want to do this now, Trevor? You just want to give it a minute too?
Do it after.
Hit your ad button.
I'll deafen and I'll see you in a couple minutes as well.
Cool. That sounds great.
Okay.
Okay. Great to be joined by Trevor. It is really cool. Gosh, what is this? Sorry, I'm not as able to pay attention to chat. By the way, in this cast, it's just trying to deal with a remote TriCast it's hard as heck. But yeah, no, we've been, putting some feelers out for this for a little while and just seeing if we can get this working, and we can. So it's been really cool. Gosh, but yes, remote. I'm gonna say. Just trying to read. I'm trying to catch up with every chat at once. Yeah, you can ask every question as long as it's about Protobelt. It's like you can choose you can have any color you want as long as it's black, Oh, gosh. How did you guys find that in chat? How was that in chat? Were you enjoying the Quickshot vibes? Were you enjoying the return of the Maestro to casting? I'm not quite sure we're Deficio, but we're trying our best. Fun as heck. That was fun. Good. It was a great Protobelt cast. Oh, yes, it was. Oh, yeah. Love me some belts. When they say they bring out the belt now, it's just going to be the Proto. When they said bring out the belt, they didn't mean the Protobelt. Is Quickshot casting the whole series today? If he wants to, yes, if he wants to. Very happy to have Trevor around. Sam is as well. Yeah. So as long as Trevor's happy to, I'm happy to as well. It's great to be back on board with him, and I think for Trevor as well, it's just nice for him to get his hands on some actual good League of Legends. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit scuffed. We're doing a remote TriCast. It's been we've not casted a TriCast as us three together. I've cast with Quickshot and TriCast before. In fact, actually, I cast in a Quickshot Cadral TriCast back in 2022. So we did that a little while ago. Oh, has he got Appa on stream? Beautiful. See, we don't have an Appa. We do have a Ziggy back home, but that's like, across the English Channel. Oh, gosh. Miss Quickshot so much? Yeah, me too. But, I hope that we, Lucian Protobelt? Oh, yeah. Bring out the Lucian Protobelt. He needs another dash. The thing is, AP Lucian is actually really good. Protobelt Lucian might work in Arena, actually. That's the thing. Might actually work there. But yeah. Yeah, no. Look, if Quickshot's down for it, I'd be willing to do this more often, as long as Quickshot's ready for it. You know, as long as he wants to. You know, it's our co-stream. We have to co-stream rights. I believe everything's okay there in terms of red tape. By the way, whenever we do something like this, you know, we're not unaware of like the context around it. We do make sure that we check in and just make sure that we have like someone like written in confirmation this is okay to do. Yeah, Lucian, AP Lucian is a thing. Believe it or not, AP Lucian is a thing. Yeah. Go to co-stream. Oh, you're very kind there. Very kind. But yeah, shout out to. Can I do shout out on here actually? That work. Okay, folks. I'm just gonna go take a call real quick, and then I gotta be back. Hey, Sam. Sam. Okay, I gotta go take. I just gotta take a call real quick, and I gotta be back. One sec. Sam. Okay.
It's gonna be hard in this room.
Hello. Just had a random call from my
You're good.
grandparents, and I thought I should pick that up because I haven't
Oh,
talked to
that's
them in a
really
little while.
lovely.
Yeah, I know.
That's
they're
very lovely.
My Welsh grandparents down in Bridgend.
Down in the valleys.
Down in the valley, exactly.
Well, listen, I want to just take a couple minutes, just quickly before we get to picks and bans and we go all serious mode again. How long have you guys been co-streaming the LPL now?
So that's got a bit of context to it because I was on the LPL official broadcast in 2023. Started co-streaming it a little bit during then because, oh, thank you so much for the gift subs, by the way, Luca. That's very, very kind of you. But yeah, we started in 2023 because we could kind of tell the way the wind was blowing in regards to broadcasts and seeing the success of people like Cadrel. You kind of have to have your own brand. In terms of when I started casting it on co-stream, that would have been partway through 2024 when the official LPL broadcast only broadcast half of the games during the week. So we did the other half then. So we've been doing it 2.5 years now, 2.5 years. 2.5
years. I've seen the streams on a whole bunch. How many thousands of games are we at? 1,000? 2,000?
2 and a bit. We'll say 2 and a bit, I think, because every year.
1,000 games in LPL. Oh my word, that is crazy.
Every year you have about somewhere between 700 and 900 games, depending on how the format changes, how many games the series go to. Probably a little close towards 900, I think, if you also include Demacia Cup and other secondary tournaments. So yeah, you go a couple of years deep into it, you think, okay, I have to kind of like make some approximations now, but it probably is over 2,000.
That is crazy. 2,000 games for the Hapgoods. I will say this, I've noticed a bit of a meta among some of the other LPL co-streamers that like dog cams are a thing for people who are on my stream, you can actually see Appa. She's chilling on camera. Like, are you guys gonna do dog cam? Can I
Sam,
suggest that as an idea?
Can you just take the hoodie off? Right hand side on there. Right hand side on there. Okay, yeah, that. Take both them off. Yeah, both that off. That off. Get me the third one. Yeah, okay. I don't have a dog. I have an Ari cape, and that's as close as it gets.
No, but hang on. I'm not here to see you in a cape, mate. I'm not here.
Well, that's your viewers, Quickshot. How can you assume for mine?
Like,
fair play. Fair
when
play.
they put this on, they get a little belt around it and it allows them to move a dash forward about 20 feet.
No.
Also, massive shout out. Thank you so much, Tyrion, for the sub on my side. Drop a follow, drop a subscription, drop a like. If you're watching on YouTube, it helps so much. If you're involved in chat, if you comment, and if you give it a thumbs up, it pushes people, pushes the feed to more people. So really, really helpful. So definitely, support. Thank you for hanging. It's been really nice. I mean, look, I've done 7 or 8 co-streams. The EWC qualifiers were crazy. We managed to get a whole bunch of people tuning in because there wasn't a lot of competition, which was great. And I'm just excited that for the next couple of months, I've got a lot of content to be streaming, a lot of time to be spending on the computer. I'm old. I'm still learning how Discord works. But I'm very grateful that in this scenario, how the dynamic is shifted and flipped, from back when we were on broadcast together, and now I get to sit here and join your guys' show. So it's really appreciated.
It's one of the really cool things about esports is that you run into when you cross paths with people multiple times, like people change in terms of what they learn. I mean, back in 2022, when I came into LEC, I'd only had 2 weeks of studio experience from NLC. And that was all I'd done. Now, I'd cast tons and tons of remote series. In fact, I'd say that Sam and I are some of the most experienced remote broadcasters in the world.
Yeah,
we did LGL, we did UK scene. In fact, Lookout was saying that both Milky Cereal and us have co-streamed their team before, which is you make these contacts and cross paths a couple of years later, and you pick up a thing or two. But of course, the camaraderie and the feelings still stay the same, don't they? Instant draft now for game 2.
All right. By the way, I still wanted to highlight the fact that Tarzan's the danger man. I also appreciate that for today's series, we've actually swapped sides. I think something like 13 out of the 14 games, 13 out of 15 games, teams stayed on exactly the same side this entire weekend. So we're actually seeing some pivots and changes, and I want to see how that's going to affect the draft.
Yeah, because again, obviously, they've done that thing where they've decoupled first pick and counter pick from side select, or from being on blue and red side, which made things a little bit weird on that front. Because what it does mean is then you start having a bit of a conversation about terrain, and that does matter at a very high level. As like, if you are running Misfortune on red side, you can bullet time from over the back of the Baron Pit wall, and that makes her more valuable in that scenario. So there are those little things that start to matter there as well, but often then it's more of a question about, well, what side, what pick select do you prefer?
Yeah, so for instance, on the side selection, blue side is great at invading Raptors with the top laner. Flandra loves to do that, and particularly in the LPL, that can be a big factor. And it sadly, though, it does mean we don't just have red 5 anymore. Of course, the Luke Skywalker pick, as Sam talks about it, the last pick in the draft, red's 5 standing by, maybe not the same anymore because red side's first pick here.
And more importantly, Tarzan locked in Nefiri. He's the only one that I personally give the
we have dog cam.
Pass to worldwide. We have a dog cam. Okay, 7 games played this year. 5 of them are wins. But more importantly for me, it's the way that he plays. He's got a 6 KDA on this champion, and just 2 or 3 days ago, literally dismantling people who stood in his way. So I think when we look at how LGD were destroyed, that's going to be a concern for me, and I want to see what BLG do laning wise.
The other thing that's been let through is, of course, the Jarvan, which is another one of those very, very high priority junglers. Again, you don't win the 1v1 versus the Nefiri. You can see some debate for the Lee Sin, which is a bit more mobility. These are all very fun hovers.
Give us a Lee Sin.
And he is going to go towards the Lee Sin. There we can absolutely see this one fight toe-to-toe with the Nefiri earlier on. Again, LPL is one of the better regions at playing with Nefiri in general, basically because, as we were talking about, when we choose to fight between objectives, often to blow off flashes and that kind of thing, and Nefiri is one of the absolute best at abusing those kinds of moments. You can see the Lucian Milio for Open Kyle as well.
I'd say that Ryze Sin's pretty damn good at that too. Because there are some champions which don't need ultimates to kill you very easily. If Ryze roots someone in front of a Lee Sin, the Q is point and click, and that is really not okay for a champion to have like Lee Sin. It's just not fair. If you have a Renekton there, that's also someone that can point and click. Bin, I think, is just going to go for solo lane domination now. The Ryze gives you the global from mid lane to go towards a volatile top lane matchup. Remember at the end of last game, Trevor, when I was talking about Anyone's Legend, things kind of went well for them. They had a non-volatile top lane matchup. Things didn't explode out of lanes. If you get Bin's Jace, with a Rise from Knight, the best player in the LPL, roaming up to your lane, that is bad news for anyone's Legend. I don't know what they do to neutralize this Jace, and I certainly don't know what they do to neutralize Jace with Knight coming up to help him.
And what is going to be banned away now? The Gnar's already moved from the pool. Rumble removed from Flandre as well, one of his most played champions. You have to assume... Well, this is the other challenge as well, keep in mind. BLG, where do they prioritize their bans, right? Because you've got your two solo laners locked in. You may open up a surprise option for Shanks or Flandre, but it's also just like, we've got Bin and Knight. What do you think you're going to do?
Right, it's very challenging, right? Because at this point, we've got two of the most potent laners in the game on two of their most comfortable and potent laning champions in Ryze and Jace.
And also, it's Ryze, one of Knight's best champions, one of the best champions in the game, period, and also one of the key counters is out. The Cassiopeia is not there to hold the Ryze down. You have Annie and Anivia, which are champions which can typically cause some issues for the Ryze in lane. Instead, they ban out the Twisted Fate, which could have been played top lane. It is technically a double flex right now, and Flandre's played bits and pieces of it top lane. The Anivia looking, I guess, sort of likely here for Shanks, unless he wants to go towards something more like the Azir or the Victor if he cares less about the laning phase proper.
Is Bard still open? When would you Bard? That's going to be a question here. We saw it into the Ezreal. It's on, so I think it's always possible.
Very much
so. Yeah, that's a fair point. You're against the Lucian Milio. You might go Corki Nami for laning phase because you need a strong 2v2. If you go for the Bard and go for the Jhin, we haven't seen a Senna from BLG this split. We haven't seen that.
Okay, I'll put this out here as well.
Can I go back? Can I just go out just super quickly? This is what I was mentioning a little bit, Alex. I think with the way 26, 9, 10, and now 11 is pushing teams, when you said we've not seen the Senna this split, I have noticed this as a trend in LCK, LEC, and in the LPL. We're pulling out. That's also the nature of balancing. We're getting ready for MSI, but I do just find it fascinating for to see like absolutely zero plays and now gets pulled out.
Yeah, and again, we've had one or two Senna enjoyers in the LPL. Shout out to Leave in particular, who's probably the best Senna in the world. Like he stacks like nobody else. Because again, we'll get into it in game, but like there are particular breakpoints on Senna and what's expected to be hit in terms of your stat count at 20 minutes. And if you don't hit them, you aren't feeling very happy as a champion. Hell, I think Hansama got away with it last night, for example, because he was having a really rough time until Skumon brought DK out and smacked him all around anyway.
What a series, man.
Are we going to see Nasus in? Are we going to see more Nasus in the LPL?
There are some junglers which I think can pull it out. I think the player that would have done it would have been Guon on NIP, but sadly for him, he's actually now been knocked down to the lower group. This is their arena, by the way, Guon and NIP. They were meant to be playing
that's depressing.
Playoffs on their own stage, and then they were beaten by EDG unexpectedly.
Can I do a little bit of behind the scenes info? That's actually part of the reason that our road trips in the LEC are during the middle of a season.
Yes.
Because if you're KC and you host a road trip, you're guaranteed to play in regular season. But if you host a finals, you're not guaranteed to appear in it. So just interesting business things for behind the scenes that a lot of people don't
it's pragmatism, right? It's pragmatism. The LPL has something like 5 teams with arenas, and that has to factor into that too. On locks in the Alistair, so he's going to have a tank to go there. On's Alistair is also really good. It's not really been as much of an Alistair meta in Split 2. It was in Split 1 for a bit. On our side, we actually run a quick ad break after draft just to make sure we don't have ads during the game. Unless there's a damn pause which ruins everything, and it means you get ads in game anyway, but that's a separate thing, isn't it? Thanks, LPL Production. Coaches will fist bump as I go away from my brief rant. You see, I have to let out my anger on something else now that Protobolt's not in the conversation.
What I can do...
It's fine.
Bring everyone to make sure, because basically, Trev's done a really wonderful job of saying, hey, make sure to follow us. Guys, if you don't know who Quickshot is at this point, I don't know what you've been doing in League of Legends over the last 10 years. But if you are not following Quickshot, please do so, especially on the Twitch channel and the YouTube channel that Trevor's been starting up to do some more co-streaming stuff. Be great to make sure that you guys are like, well, I know Quickshot. Well, go give him some bloody love then. Go follow him.
2,500 followers in 10 days. So it's not
go.
Massive, right? But it's like, considering I was at 4K and I'm now at 6.7, it's great. I saw a message in chat talking about draft. Wait, we're going to wait for the gyros.
The gyros wait for no man, Quickshot. Bloody hell,
that is the case. I'm a fan. I think anyone's Legend have won some people over in the arena. I think that was more balanced than the first game.
Yeah.
But I also want to say this. I really like Alistair as an option into when you look at picks like Aurora and Evolution. The Unbreakable is just so valuable if you are going to be one of the initiation tools. But when I look at BLG, I once again look and go, they have an intricate team fight because you've got a non-stand. You don't really have a frontliner, right? You've got a lot of mobility between some of the matchups. But if Cassante gets ahead and K1000 hears you, I get a little nervous.
Yes.
I think there's windows. There's windows for Tarzan and the rest of the squad.
Yeah, but this is why in LPL, I don't always focus on the team fights because we can see already, look at the minimap, so much is about early jungle invade. Now, I think you go to Europe, you go to NA, a lot of it does come down to those gate game team fights. Right now, it's about early jungle packing. Level 1 from Viper and Honors, they can test. Contest onto the Krugs and punt Tarzan over the wall.
So beautifully done. Tarzan's not done yet. Viper still wants to try and pick up some of that farm. We'll be able to at least get a couple of trades down. Tarzan's level 2. Kale's pushed forward. He's level 2. 13 CS for Hope. Viper has only got 2 right now. So keep in mind the experience. Damage being put onto the tower. And now the tower dive at level 1. Let's go, anyone's legend. First blood picked up for Hope's Lucian. And they got to step backwards. Darkin daggers were held. And Viper is behind in 2 levels, down, 2.5 waves of experience, and you've just given a Lucian first blood.
Yeah, they wanted to go mess with Nefiri, pick up some souls from that. Again, the Senna always trades souls for farm, is very happy to do that. Yeah, you drop a little bit there, but being at level 1 versus the level 3 Lucian, and Lucian with level 3 has so much more potency than nearly any other bot laner right now because of how much you can do with it. They get beyond the wave, they get on, and the weak side bot lane from BLG is punished well there by AL.
There is a ton of context to this. Look, Hope has been the most criticized member of anyone's legend over the last few years. He's been seen as the player that holds back this team. He's now been given early resources from his jungle, early kill in the lane, and he's on a Lucian, which is very powerful here in the LPL. Now, I think BLG were really taken off guard by the early invade. They were looking at enemy Raptors. They weren't protecting their own bot side, and On lost a lot of HP to go defend that and left Viper alone at the level 1. See that BLG were really quite sucker punched by that AL. One of the things which I was looking for them is good level 1 plans. Don't let BLG sit in their laning momentum, really, and just bully you out of the map. This is much better for them. I really like that level 1.
And not only that, I actually think it's even a bigger mistake when you look at the matchups. Lucian Melio into Senna Alistair. Of course, the first levels are going to go anyone's legends favored. And then you've got the ability for Nefiri to play around. Shun's going to step forward into Tarzan, Sonic Wave and Resonating Strike. Daggers go up, and look, Knight already the first to move. If that continues, Bin is also pushing in that front lane, the top lane. So BLG are more likely than not going to be able to move first in the middle and top lanes.
Kyle's also roamed over, though. There's going to be a bit of a support number advantage there. They end up protecting the route to respawn. That's important. Tarzan actually traded really well back against Lee Sin there. Nefiri, you hit a double Q, you heal, you do a ton of damage. The champion is really busted if you hit your skill shots, turns out. And Tarzan knows how to use that very, very well. Now, the Lee Sin Rise is going to be a very important combination for BLG. When the goings got tough for BLG, one thing that they've relied on very heavily is Shun and Knight on a burst combo, whether that was Vi Ari or something with a Syndra involved, Nocturne Oriana. They play kind of every kind of flavor of it. The Rise Lee Sin has been a recent LPL favorite, where the Rise is rune prison someone in front of the Lee Sin and they get decked. There's very little you can do against the Lee Sin landing a full combo onto you. And Shun Knight in particular for BLG, this has been bread and butter for them.
I'll also want to point this out here as well, that obviously you were chatting about, hey, the intricate team fight from BLG, Trev. The other side of this coin, as we have seen Senna on the Doran's helm, and has she got inspiration in that? I'm not sure she does, so it's again a mistake.
No,
okay.
Okay,
I'll let Alex
let me nerd out. Permissions to nerd out?
Yeah, go nerd out first.
Okay, so Jack of all trades is a minor rune in the inspiration tree, which gives you ability haste and some extra stats when you have different stats built in your items. So magic resist, armor, HP, attack speed, you name it. Doran's helm gives you a lot of stats as an AD carry you wouldn't get from other items and allows you to get a lot of value out of Jack of all trades, but he hasn't taken it as a rune. So he's built up the Doran's helm, which is, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad starter item, but the real power of this on champions like Lucian or on someone like Senna at points too is that you get value from a weird rune interaction.
And there's no weird rune, so they don't get the interaction, and so half the value of the helm is gone.
Nerding out for very little value.
It's very annoying.
Yeah.
It's very appreciated, though, because I did not actually know that. But I will say this, by the way.
I tuned into LS's stream the other day, learned about it, and now I'm going to pretend I knew about it all along. Great stuff.
No, yeah, but you don't have to say it that way. You said so confidently it was yours. And by the way, that level 1 the play in the bottom lane has still allowed Hope to pull ahead. 600 gold in that bottom lane. Comes back with the Sheen, the double longswords. It's a domestic dispute bottom lane between Lucian and Sebe. So we need to see who's going to get...
Who comes out best in the divorce,
Who's going to be able to... Yeah, exactly. Who gets the control... What's the control? Damn it, that was such a good joke until I forgot the word. Anyway.
No, but Trevor, you said it so confidently. You made it your own.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
All right, a little bit
that was good.
All right.
That was good. That was custody. Custody's the word. That's what I wanted.
Back into like gameplay here. Now, Trevor, one thing about the meta for this year, which I think is really important in almost every region, the scuttle crab that spawns at 6 minutes is very important, and anyone's legend just got that. You'll notice why. It's because it gets you level 60 if you've been farming properly in jungle. If you get 2 full clears, get the level 6 scuttle crab, you get your ult first. Neferi needs a little bit of time to get into the game. Getting that scuttle crab, because of the bot lane prio, does genuinely help the Neferi, the power champion on anyone's legend, to get ahead.
It's going to be a bit of a play bot as the cullings come on down, and also the Neferi is coming. Quickshot, mate. I think they're going to dive this.
It's time. Level 6. Unleash the hounds. Tarzan, run from the jungle and give Hope yet another kill. Plates have already been secured in the bottom lane. In the middle lane, by the way, Shanks was roaming down. Viper gets jumped on again. This is a triple kill total for Hope in the bottom lane. He, while being one of the most criticized players, has got all the tools needed to take over this game.
Yeah, and BLG, this is something they got wrong versus WE earlier in the bracket and playoffs, where they would just say bot lane will be fine, because most of the time they are, until it goes wrong against champions which snowball, like this Neferi or even the Lucian on the other side of it. You've given over what could be a game-ending lead, if used well from anyone's legend on the Lucian. Viper and On, they very rarely get resources from their team. They are very used to having just survival in the 1v1. Viper on Caitlyn, Ezreal, Jhin, strong champions which can exist on their own. And they don't really like having the focus put onto their lane as it's been doing in this game.
Look, it's not quite the Eye of Sauron, but they've certainly drawn the Eye of Tarzan bot lane, which has allowed Knight and Bin to get isolated laning matchups. And that is what BLG have basically traded bot lane's entire existence for. You've got a significant CS lead mid and a significant CS lead top. Yes.
Hope has got Essence Reaver already. That was like a 6.5 minute purchase. Tarzan goes, ape together strong and ganking bottom lane, bringing all of the party fun. But it has been at the cost of the 2 solo lanes. Both Bin and Knight are up like 20 CS solo. And that's almost a solo kill purely. Dark and Daggons misses. Come on, Tarzan. The secondary shot does. And I think this is starting to get scary because Knight and Bin may not get a chance to impact this game if Hope has already won it.
And this is why, in game 1, sometimes narrative have a reason, folks. If you say the same thing enough, people understand why it happens. LPL is the region of junglers. The level 1 invade in jungle helps give anyone's legend the win condition. The level 1 invade leads to the later dive. It comes through from that jungle and the early level 1 plans. Anyone's legend have got themselves a win condition through their early jungle decision-making as a team.
And if you want to look at when EU was doing that, well, just look at Skewmond at first stand. That's why we were praising him so heavily, is because they had those level 1 plans. It got Skewmond into a great position, and then the next step of taking that lead and converting it into a continual building of resources and pressure. Those re-invades, the wards that have gone down. Look where AL have got those wards around that red side quadrant, and then the continual dismantling of this Senna and this Alistair.
By the way,
that's the power. Yeah.
I love that point, Sam, because in game 1, I really liked anyone's Legends River wards and River control. Look how much they pushed it further this time around, right? They're on the red side, they swapped over, but they've given all of the tools to Hope and to Kale to push the lead, but it is at the expense. Down 20 CS top lane, 900 gold. Nearly 20 CS mid lane, around 600 gold. Knight is already stacking the rower. Bin's working towards the culling. The cull, I should say. But
I've done that
now
so
we
many
need to see
times,
the
you
shot
don't
place. The shot loss has to land, right? So let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Shun, does he stop the recall here?
Does.
He does. Hang on. This could just be a kill. Kicks him into the wall. Flandra's going low.
Tries to get the W. Nice dash away to avoid it. Flash on forward to get the additional Q. Gets that. And now, of course, reminder, Shun has already picked up the grubs for BLG, so Jay should be able to dismantle that turret very shortly.
I've realized the problem. I've been play-by-playing in a solo cast for a lot of this year. So I'm also like tagging into the double play-by-play mentality.
Listen, when it's that easy though, when it's that easy, I used to actually tell like Deficio and stuff, if it's just gonna be so, just go with it. Like seriously, it was so obvious that Flandre was gonna die and kind of depressing. I don't want to do it, dude. It's not fun for me.
Oh yes, you give me the depressing. Okay, got it, cool. I get the depressing play. Yes, thanks, appreciate that.
Well, actually, to pull out one of the proper lines then, where's the Trevor kiss me moment? Come on. At least into it.
Okay,
really, in front of
the
chat?
only way that'll work, the only way that will work is if we cut to a shot of the crowd and they're making out. That is the crucial first step. Because that's
can't
not
have
happening.
Coldplay. Can't have Coldplay playing. It can't happen.
Oh,
That's it.
God. Oh no, don't mention that one.
That was good. Oh
gosh.
man. Shun, by the way, looking for the engage here onto Shanks. Kale's already right behind him. Hope starts to channel the culling. Where was the weirding? Shanks is going to hop over the world, between two worlds, I shall say. And now here comes Tarzan. Is it time to eviscerate? Is it time to obliterate? No, it is not time.
He's
as
learned
they
the
might
ability
get
names, chat.
decimated. Now On is going to push this way. Let's go. The pressure is there.
That's a good
BLG,
headbutt.
find the Rune Prism. Sonic Wave. Where's the Lee Syndrome? Not going to be enough. Hope
hang on,
forced to
Ben.
flash defensively, running for his life. That's in the middle lane. Kale's going to sidestep Senna's ultimate, and Tarzan gets another. Should use the Dragon's Rage kick just to buy time, and Flandre is holding off 3 members of BLG. It's a 2,000 gold lead. It's anyone's legend in control.
Bin thought he could one-shot Kyle. He misses the calculation and goes down. That's a good play from anyone's legend as they initially start with a good play onto Shun. This is one of those moments where you see HP being almost as useful as a kill. They don't kill Shun, but because he's so low, they realize, hang on, we can just fight. We can fight with that jungler being low. Anyone's legend take the kill onto Bin now. They got the dragon afterwards. They go back into the replay. Typically, you see a full HP Alistair with ult, and you think, this is a good moment for BLG. They punch Shanks back in, but they don't get to capitalize. There's no Rune Prison immediately after, and Bin thinks he can get the isolated play. It's a very close confrontation, but they don't quite combo up with the center ult well enough. Kyle lives. Bin, I think, would have died anyway. Close run knife fight.
I mean, speaking of Knight, right, like, didn't want to burn the flash, but as a result, because he was kind of in the red buff pit, wasn't able to kind of full combo Shanks once the headbutt came on forward, so Shanks actually managed to get over towards the wall, and they couldn't quite kill him off either, and that became a little bit problematic. And again, we've now got this 1,200 gold, 1,900 gold, let me read my numbers correct. They've also got the double dragons. AL are in a great spot this game. We were chatting, we kind of got a bit messy because of the amount of dives that are happening bot lane, but one of the points Alex was bringing up was like, hey, sometimes it's not about the 5v5s in the LPL. Sometimes it's about the ability to play towards these side lanes, and theoretically, that's what BLG have drafted for. They've got a control tower in mid lane and the center that can ult to the Ryze, ult to the Jace, who are shoving with the Grubs and the Lee Sin on one of these side lanes. The problem, Trev, is because they've fallen so far behind now, I don't know how free they're going to be able to do that.
No,
They're going to try and make a play here now.
Teleport coming
Yeah, but
through.
listen, if Knight is trying to play on the side lane, this time around there's no knife to fight Knight, but it is not needed. 4 members of BLG are still taking over 10 seconds to kill Flandre. While that's happening, cross-map in the middle lane, plates are going down. Shanks' Aurora in the top lane is left solo to pick up the farm, to pick up the plates. Multiple teleports are expended. So, yes, you've got the kill into Flandre and to Cassante, but that's not the danger man. If you start playing those side lanes and then all of a sudden Tarzan comes in with the Hound's Pursuit, there's enough damage to tower dive with, insufficient vision. There are options here for anyone's legends.
On just gets destroyed. Kill, again, going to anyone's legend. They can stop the recall. Some very quick teleports across the map there with some very intricate macro. We'll be using that word a lot today, but I think it really fits this one. As BLG escape the potential dive onto the Jace by teleporting out of the lane, get the kill, teleport back to the other side of the map to try and hold the turrets that they left alone, but then they get a little bit lost in the source. BLG, as anyone's legend, just have a really strong Neferi, and Sam highlighted this earlier, really excels in those kind of moments where you're not quite set up, and Neferi just takes your heart out because they're so strong at this point, and they're very able to close down a lot of these members, like a Alistair without that flash.
I'll also note that BLG did at least get to do what their comp was supposed to do in playing towards the Ryze or the Jace. Jace is now 2,500 gold up individually. If there was a player on Jace that can still win you a game, it is Bin. He's cashed in the Cull. He's gone to Muramana first to stack that as fast as possible to have as potent a mid-game as possible. No stopping off for something like a Ghost Blade this game. Fight happening over the Herald.
We're going to get a contest. Teleport coming through front to back, our first 5v5
Sam,
of
it's
the
yours.
game.
Oh yes, I'll take that one quite happily. The Realm War potentially behind. On's being set, looking for the angle, immediately burns that ultimate to buy some time. Flandre gets a double pullback, not the best, the double headbutt and pulverized from one, but he's left alone, and this fight is still going to go the way of anyone's legend. Flandre in the front line briefly gets away, and AL, again, the moment the 5v5s occur, they just feel so much happier.
Yeah, On ends up dying at the end of that just to get the Eye of the Herald. They ended up taking it with Shun, but they get the objective after. Did they lose anything because of the fight, though? Mid lane turret under threat.
Bin's thinking about just going to the skies and wiping that wave out. Again, Jace does have a fair amount of AoE as long as he sends his body in.
By the way,
Shun
the
gets
damage
jumped
that
on,
Bin
all
put
out.
down with a 2,000 gold lead is massive. Shun gets pulled away, is not going to be able to use that safeguard to safety, and will be killed. 404, all 8 kills have been involved for Hope, as well as Tarzan, 305. But I will say, when you notice that 2.5k gold in action, Bin hit 2 shock blasts in front of that Rift Herald and burned through like half of Hope and Kale's life. I don't care how hot those fires are from Emilio. It's not going to be enough to survive that poke damage.
At that point, they're being used to like heat up like the hot cup things you do to like get rid of like the muscle pain at that point. That's as good as I got here, chat. You know?
Cooking some s'mores, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
S'mores are,
Exactly.
I don't know, Hope's life
Yeah,
was.
they're very therapeutic, I hear, this time of year. That's not this. This is only winter. Anyway, Bin, getting towards that Muramana, only 1 stack away from that, as we've been talking about. Really like how Flandre used that all out there. The big thing about Flandre Quickshot, which I have to tell you, look, in 2015, Flandre was the carry player of the LPL, and when he was on Snake, he was the guy who played carries in an era of bruiser top laners around the very early days after the MSI win of 2015. Over time, he has matured into the thinking person's top laner. He is the person who might not win you the lane, but he will always have impact outside of it. He's down 2.5k, but with his clever vision play, got a kill onto the Lee Sin, which was really important to him. If he can do the same again, this team fight again here around the Dragon, well, perhaps that'll put anyone's legend into a much more firm position, especially as it would be their 3rd Dragon.
Take a look very quickly at the itemization, by the way. That Flicker Blade has been sitting with Hope for a while. 2 items completed into a single on the opposite side for Senna. And of course, we do also have a massive pickup sitting for Bin. He's got the Cyclo Sword, 2 items. Ooh. If anyone's legend do not like rush this down, 1 shock blast burns 40% of Kale's life. Viper just gets caught. It's that simple. Shanks and Flandre can be down 5,000 gold combined. It doesn't matter if they catch someone face checking. The Rift Herald's been dropped to try to get something back. We'll at least put some damage onto the tower. They get the flash out of Shanks, and the 3rd Dragon should be secured, and is. For anyone's legend, it is only 1,000 gold lead, but they will be able to force BLG's hand again in the following fights.
Yeah, but that 1,000 gold also comes with an additional bonus package of Hex Tech Soul points. Shun's about to get jumped onto here as well. Flash for the kick, that might be good, but the breath of life keeps him rolling. The Hound's pursuit wasn't used in the fight. Shun just over the wall, but a flash, a smite, the Sonic Wave. Here comes the Dawning Shadow to keep him just about alive.
He's still alive.
Does Shun get out there? I cannot believe it. On May trade his life, he flashes as well. BLG get away without murder.
I'm not gonna lie, I think the mortuary were thinking they were gonna have a delivery there, but nothing's turned up in the mail.
I love this game. I love these skills. The fact that Shun's able to not only set up a potential kill, but then escape what was, 4 or 5 members of anyone's legends, gets out alive. They are not out of this game. They have all the tools available. The only thing is they really need to be careful. Hextech Soul plus a fed Nefarian Lucian is going to be a problem. And Tarzan's not going to be able to close it up, but Hope just about may. Flash and barriers available to him. Now all of a sudden, Kale steps forward. Kick him with the ball. Shun will finally get taken out, and 1 last shot from Flandre does so. That's huge for somebody who was down nearly 3,000 gold. Kale and Hope, can they set it up? The Ardent Blaze will not be enough to do so today. And anyone's legend, get away.
I think Bin auto-attacked one of the dogs instead of Tarzan. I think that's why he lives. I think he does one of his auto-attacks just at the end of that trade onto Tarzan. We'll watch here again in the replay. This gets really close. It's the Fed member on each side going at each other. Watch this here. Where does the auto attack go? It goes onto a dog. I don't know whether Tarzan was out of vision, but it saves his life. Shock Blast goes wide. Shun ends up kind of paying for the sins a little bit there because he thinks he has the kill combo onto Hope. This is the kind of gameplay I thought I'd be seeing with the Lee Sin through here. Close run stuff.
What I'll note, though, is you do get Flash and Barrier off the Lucian. If you can take the Lucian, who was the one who got all of those early kills into that turret, then sometimes you'll say, you know what, Lee Sin died the one time, that's fine. If it means that in 2 minutes when we turn up to this Hex Tech Soul, which would be a potential for anyone's legend. You can bring down the Lucian, who's down some of those key summoners. We might be having a different conversation. I do also want to go back towards this Senna, who has obviously not been the highlight for BLG, but this is a very low soul count. We expect at least 60 at 20. That is a long way off that.
Yeah, it's 21 minutes, 50
the problem
souls.
is, like, Viper's in so much trouble, like, the entire game. Has been ganked multiple times. The tower has fallen. 20 minutes in, 12 kills in comparison to the previous game. The pace is so much higher. I want to contextualize, not forgive or give an excuse, shall we say, right?
It's a reason, not an excuse.
You picked Senna into this. You picked Senna into this. I think, Nymaera, you mentioned as well. It's like, okay, what are the bottom lanes? What are we anticipating? And it was an intentional draft. So for BLG, it's not working yet. And look at the vision. Once again, anyone's legend doing a great job. I missed the last few minutes because of the chaos, but they've set up around Baron. They've made it clear. If a cross map gets started in the next 90 seconds, they will be able to at least play around it.
Yeah.
They've got teleports too.
Everyone's playing on top side, everyone up here. Potential of using the Realm Warp to get the Alistair into the back line again, using the Senna moves. Shanks actually
This is
caught
your
out a little
Sam.
bit there.
Now, I'll keep an eye on it quite happily. Flandre gets away with the Pathmaker. Shin needs to safeguard out. Scuttlecraft, the fight over there. The Between Worlds comes on down as Shanks looks to find a bit more. The Shot Blast after follows. Tarzan eviscerating in. Will Hound's Pursuit still available? In goes Shin! Again, he finds a pick. This time, the Fender Fury goes down. Dragged all out.
go!
Jungle is traded. The Shot Blast lands onto BLG, sends blood in the water. Flash for the Rune Prison. The Breath of Life undoes that prison. They get out of jail. Not quite for free, but close enough.
LPL Lee Sin, man. That Lee Sin is speaking no English today. Does get the kick back onto their opposing number. And while he does go down, you take out the most important member of the other side. I think in this case, anyway, maybe you can argue it's the... In fairness, there is a 5-0-5 Lucian, so maybe a bit unfair towards Ho. But taking down the Neferi there shows that Shun... there's a really important fact we need to talk about Shun here. Look, Shun wasn't on BLG in 2025. He came back and he fixed, like, the vibes of the team like no one else can. There was a revolving door of junglers in 2025 for BLG. Shun was who they returned to, their 24 and 2023 jungler. And right here, he's been playing a lot of this game at a deficit. It never really crosses his mind.
Doesn't matter.
Shun is the kind of player who will just make the play gold be damned. And I really love that about this guy. It's a great all-out from Flandre, he catches him out again. But Shun, I love the spirit in which he plays for BLG.
Neferi says, you're not locked in here with me. Flandre's like, no, you're locked in here with me.
Yeah.
They literally trade steals. But please keep your eyes on the minimap. The vision toggle this time around is great. BLG have got Baron control, but nothing in the Southern River. And Bin is landing so many great shot blasts that it's going to put anyone's legend on the back foot. The cullings are not working out yet. Flandre gets delivered and gets dumped down from the Mercurial Hammer of Jace. The Scimitar is firing down. The 4-man knockup. That is exactly how you do it. BLG are on fire. The hammer comes out once more from Bin. He's looking for the shot blast. Tarzan's running for his life. Put that dog down is what Bin is saying. He can't find the hit just yet, but he will send Lelio hacking. Get him back to the farmyard. And one more for Shun. The re-engage from Tarzan. He's bopped down mid-flight. And BLG take absolute control.
That is a play only a Rise can make. Knight gives an Uber Eats delivery to anyone's legend, and it turns out that stake is more than rare. It's bloody alive still. Teleport down to the bot side of the map. BLG are making sure they get both objectives at the same time. Baron on one side, Bin covering the dragon.
Yeah, Shanks and Hope went to try and sneak away the dragon, would have got them the Hextech Soul, but Bin resets TPs in, and they can't stand in front of the firepower of Bin's Jace. We said he might be a win condition here in a way few other Jace players can be. He just comes in and says, you cannot play this. But AL have respawned. Massive chunk immediately onto Kai Elbow.
Okay.
Sam, that's yours, my friend. I took the last one.
Oh, yes.
Okay, all
If
right.
there's a
Looks
fight,
like-
like, tell you what, for this next big objective.
Okay, yeah, so that one's just like one you bank in for the future.
Okay,
so Hextech Soul
IOU.
is avoided. There is a Baron taken for BLG. Now, K'Sante feels like a very broken champion until his W is down. I am a firm believer K'Sante W is the most broken ability in the game. It makes you unstoppable, it makes you basically undamageable, and it gives you mobility. Once it's down, though, a lot of Casante's kit goes with it, and it means they can go for this play. What a ridiculous combo from Knights and On, delivers the cow into the backline, and it's an extended chase down which comes from that. That is beautiful. That is BLG making plays.
Bull in a China shop, or at least in China, incredible. Incredible. I'm not apologizing.
No, bull in a shop.
That's
No,
not real
listen,
good.
it's a bull in a shop in China. Yes! Nymaera, thank you so much. We delivered that. Oh, I will also say this right now. Something that I have noticed from watching throughout the course of most of spring splits, actually, in the spring regular season and playoffs, the first Baron power play tends to not finish very early, right? And I think thanks to Durex, of course, that's why that's not going to happen here for BLG or AL. They do have some time, you know, to work around this very sensitive situation that anyone's let to find themselves in, because the culling has not been impactful multiple fights in a row, despite the fact that we've seen Viper and Flandre caught out with, I think, questionable positioning. BLG have just got the range, and Shun is currently finding target after target. So if Shun gets withheld, maybe AL have a chance.
Do you think they sponsored the backdoor in game 1?
Oh, no. All I'm saying is the balls are in BLG's. I mean, ball is in BLG's.
Towers are going down. That's important. I hear it, BLG. 3,000 gold power players. They keep landing shot bursts.
I'm sorry. Look, this is the first weekend that I've had the opportunity to see a Durex sponsorship. There's a lot of silliness and childish behavior that I haven't been able to get out. And I will be professional for a moment because of the fact that Bin's damage, I think, has been able to keep AL on the back foot. I think Knight, Room Presence, and Shun, the three of them said, it doesn't matter what Viper and On have done, we'll just win this game.
Yeah, I think that Hope, obviously he's been given a lot of gold. It's been really hard for him to find a target to not instantly get exploded by and actually do damage. It was great in a split map state, but this raises some issues. If you're going to give resources against enemy bot lane, again, this is a way which BLG have sometimes fallen apart. If anyone's legend can't execute through this, that is another checklist point of things which I would want them to try in this series to get over BLG, which they might have failed at.
And again, we were joking. We've joked on the Hopium podcast with you, Trevor, about BLG standing for bad late game. That has started to shift over this split somewhat, and actually, credit to them, they were the ones who were behind this game, and they're now in a great spot to take this one all the way.
And I think there's two reasons for that. I think Shun coming back helps the spirit of the team. They don't just collapse when one thing goes wrong. And the second thing is, I think, it's confidence. Winning first stand for BLG wasn't just big for the LPL crowd. I mean, we've heard the Gyos at the start of the games. They are huge. They roar in every arena now. But I think particularly for Bin and the other players, it's a real kind of like seal of approval to say, yes, you can be the best. You can be the best in the world. You're not second best anymore. You're not losing game 5 at, Worlds Finals. You're not losing to GENG at MSI 24 Finals, something like that. This is the first international title which BLG ever got, of course, ever since becoming that kind of crazy international household name ever since 23 before Knight came through. There is something different about this team. They're still in the lower bracket. They're still in a deathmatch against anyone's legend, but this is in the context of why we believe in this team.
You wouldn't know based on how the game has played out. Like, anyone's legend, I think, have been really controlled. I think anyone's legend have actually had really good moments. But when it comes down to the individuals stepping up and shining, like BLG, just not paying any respect. Just super quickly, if you're looking at my stream, my dog has decided to come and play with me, so she's literally sitting under my feet. She's a Samoyed, for those asking, so the upper cam's really cute right now. And Sam, the next fight is still yours, my friend. Okay. But I will draw attention to 3.5 items completed here for Bin already. 3,800 gold is lead. Knight has got himself nearly full build. He's got Proto Belt as well.
Wait,
we like it on Rise. We got
on.
Proto Belt on Aurora. We like it on her too.
Okay, you're bringing out the belts. We've got a dragon in 30 seconds, and Knight is still in the side lane. You can teleport in if he wants.
Oh, Hope just eats all of his health bar. The Breath of Life keeps him alive. The culling comes on down. He just about gets to him. What Shanks are looking at that potential angle. Goes between worlds just about now. Looking to find the angle. Doesn't quite get the damage he needs. And Viper gets out alive. Has to burn both summoners, but is in one place. AL have better position in the river.
Knight chose not to teleport in early there. Lots of cooldowns, lots of HP. Knight got the recall in. How powerful is he now? Teleport for the shield from Flandre. Oh, 2 feet away from him.
Oh, he does get rooted up though. The last embrace still there. Shun's down to 20% HP though. That's problematic. Flandre surviving. Look into the lane we go though. Bin's blown up Flandre. Down in 2 pieces. Dragon down to 4,000 HP. 4v5. The shot blasts keep landing. AL think they might flip it anyway. Can you smell the burgers? In goes Shun. He gets out as well. Tarzan will call the back, but I don't think anyone's answering. They can do nothing for him. The Realm Warp Viper is here. Kyle runs, but poor little Milio, my friend, your little fireballs mean nothing to the snake in the bot lane.
Huge fight for BLG. They'll take the dragon, and they're likely taking the game off of this. It might not be at this moment, but I think that's the gold lead which will break the spine of anyone's legend. Knight chose not to teleport, and Tarzan goes down. Knight chose not to teleport in early because he could back for an actualizer, come in, and just take the heads off of anyone's legend.
Unbelievable team fight from BLG. I think Bin had one accelerated shock blast to chunk down about 60-70% of Hope's hit points, and then as soon as he swaps to hammer form, the burst damage is too high, the item advantage is too much to deal with, and the fact that Lucian is such short range, he simply can do nothing about it. Flandre, what was that tweet? Tarzan, that teleport in the previous game, we saw the Tarzan Pantheon that was bad, and this time Flandre, that TP sucked.
Yeah, you get a shield after you teleport now, but sitting there in front of the carry, not the best scenario ever. Shanks gets a crazy amount of damage down. He almost one-shots the backline, but he dies for it, and Shun goes in and explodes the Lucian. All of this gold on the Lucian has meant jack all. It's done nothing in this game. The Lucian has not been able to execute, and the complaints about Hope must be pretty close at hand for him. It's not a great situation to be in as a player, but those doubts, that's a big amount of gold they gave him. He's not using it.
Whereas on the other side, Bin took that gold and turned it into a hubris. A hubris at third item is the kind of imperious arrogance that Bin's become known for. Shun's going to get jumped on here with the Hound Pursuit and the Kali. He's still alive, the Dawning Shadow.
Oh my word.
Try to take it from him, because the madness keeps rolling.
So much damage from Senna, considering she was obliterated from the game. Viper's now looking to close AL and take them down for a second time. The Dawning Shadow plus the accelerated shock blast, it ends up being a quadra kill for Viper, saying, Hope, get wrecked.
I can't believe that the game starts with all the kills to Hope, but folks, Hope is gone, at least for anyone's legend. BLG, I think it's less about Hope, more about cold, harsh reality. They are stomping anyone's legend. We'll go 2-0 up in the series. 3 match points for them.
I am in awe of these two teams in a lot of ways. They have been so back and forth, but what I am seeing is BLG have the ruthlessness in the later stages that anyone's legend don't. The poise is just a bit better from the players you want to see it from. We saw a little bit of a cam there onto Bin. He gets his Jace, he gets the Goldie, despite the early deficits for the rest of the team, and he converts that alongside some magic from Shun, let's make no mistake about it, and they blast those later fights.
And also, I want to be clear about this, by the way. The words that we want to use, it was a dispute in the bottom lane. There are some more aggressive words you can use, which I want to avoid. But as far as custody of the right to face Monkey and Team WE,
who gets
that custody sits with BLG right now. Oh yeah, maybe Thresh will be the weird uncle that gets.
Oh no!
Listen, guys, I'm gonna say this. Do you want to just like say a little bit of goodbyes and wrap up? If this ends up being a 3-0, I'm gonna go from this to Counter-Strike. So I'll hang with my crew, my slightly smaller stream. But I want to say thank you. That was awesome. I would like to do this again in the summer season after MSI.
Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed this. Chat, I hope you have done that as well. Of course, we stream in 3 different places. We've got 2 different YouTube streams, including Onivia Highlights channel. And if you've been enjoying this, come watch us again. Come ask for it. Tag us. Go find clips. If you want us to do this, we will do it, I think. I mean, I've really been enjoying this.
Real blast.
It's been great.
I had a blast. And also, I don't think we live too far from each other, so maybe we can actually set up, like, I can bring my laptop over. Maybe we can do a in-person TriCast, you know?
Yeah, we can do that. We can make it happen. My brain is going to production mode on that. We can make this happen, and I think I would love to do that.
Let's make a date for Summer Split, okay? I think, based on what I can see from the chat, it seemed to be pretty successful. I know I enjoyed it, so yeah, consider it a date, boys. We'll see you in a few weeks. Okay, thank you so much.
Enjoy the
I love you all. I'm hoping to. The game started 2. It's elimination matches. If you want to learn about Counter-Strike, once this is done, come hang out with me. I can teach you a little about CS2.
Cool.
All right, cool. See you guys later.
Cool.
Right, how does this work?
That's how it works. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, alrighty. Well, that was really fun. Really fun, folks. Yeah, I enjoyed that an awful lot. Gosh, I didn't realize actually heading off after the game too, but that's kind of... How do we unshare the stream? I believe that is a separate tab. We can do that over here. I think it's just ended there now, so Quickshot's gone over to that one. Awesome, though. Really enjoyed that, folks. And yeah, if you want to see that happen again, let us know. Let us know and we'll do it. That was really fun. You know, Trevor's a good friend, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that. Of course, we've got a game yet to go here in this series. Sam, can I trouble you for another coffee?
You
if that's all right?
absolutely can. That can be arranged. This can go off as well. And the speed up on this is getting a lot in here.
Man, it's the really cool thing about having to do double play-by-plays like that, which can also kind of slide into color, is that you can have the play-by-plays think about their big lines between the other fights as well, so they have a bit more time to think about the big moments. That was really cool.
I was fan of my bull in a china shop comment. That was entertaining. When you find that clip, oh, Ben, look at those numbers, my son.
Oh, that's insane. Yeah, 1000 DPM, that'll do it. Okay, whoever decided to have hope be the focus this game needs to think again. I mean, the draft was pretty hard to execute, sadly, in terms of like him getting access to targets, but they should have been able to do more. That Tarzan on Neferi and Hope on Lucian, like with that kind of lead, you should be carrying that, and they just didn't do it. They just couldn't do it. Do you know any Valorant co-streamers that I could lend my watch time to? I don't really know. No, I don't really know that many. Yeah, I don't really know that many Valorant people on the whole. Okay, folks. So, if you've been watching along with us, we're going to go put on an ad break. Make sure that we don't get ads in the next game. We'll wait until the player of the game, and then we'll roll on with the rest of the series. This is looking a little bit like a 3-0, folks. Who's the player of the game? I'm going to imagine it's going to be Bin, folks. I'm going to imagine it's going to be Bin. Very good Jace game. Might actually be Knight, though, for the Realm Warps. I mean, the Realm Warp Alistair plays were the game changers, I think. It's between Knight and Bin, I think. Between them. Depends who you attribute the play to in terms of the Realm Warps. Do you give it to the Alistair, or do you give it to the Rise? Also, I'm glad that my PC didn't explode doing stream together in Discord and stuff like that, because sometimes it can do that. Oh, gotta get rid of those adverts. Angles for cozy campfire in the summer, summer solstice and bonfires, grilling and jumping over said bonfire traditions in North Europe. Yeah, fair play. Okay, so we're gonna go take a quick break. We're gonna go to an ad break. Thank you again for supporting us and the channel. Player of the game, I'm going to imagine it's Bin. There you go. Bin. And by the way, if you want to support us, we do have an Opera GX sponsorship for this month. You can see that 37 people signed up, which really does help us, by the way. Really, Really appreciate everyone taking the time to check out that gaming browser. Really, really cool. It gives you a ton of flexibility. You can import your settings from old browsers as well. So, you know, even if it's not for you, no harm, no foul in trying it, right? Maybe you'll find out you'll like it. Very good game from Ben. Get hydrated? Yes, I will get hydrated. A couple of votes to support, one for jungle. Fair play. I mean, Shun had some great kicks in there, didn't he? What if BLG loses the next 3? Then they're out. Then they are out. Okay, I gotta go put cameras back on so we don't get issues with these adverts. Stayed up watching G2 last night. The Nasus was laughing at 3 AM. Nearly woke my whole family up. It was a great game though, right? Like Sam and I have a bit of history with Skimon because we were casting him back in 2021 when he was a Nunu one trick. So a good history, right? Good history. So yes, I love seeing him succeed. I really love seeing him succeed. He's such a great player. I think that Skimon might be on the fast track to being best European jungle ever. It's getting to that point. It is getting to that point. Right. See? I should do something during the break. Maybe. Oh wait, I haven't done my Uma runs today. Maybe I should do them. Yeah, we'll do Uma runs, I guess. No, I can do all. I'll do it. I can test better, I think. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, BLG knocking out their old coach is definitely something which is very spooky for Big Way. You know, Big Way, of course, was their coach for 24 and 25. To mixed results, we shall say. They knocked out Maokai, then Tabe. Yeah, Maokai there too. Wait, did they already knock him out? Yeah, I guess they did, because he was... I guess they did. Yeah, because he's back on EDG, right? And then Toppy's... I think this would be like their last of their old coaches, right? Also, forgive me if I'm wrong. If anyone's legend lose here, haven't Team WE outplaced every player that's played for them before? Because Shanks is the last WE. I don't think anyone on BLG played for Team WE nor Top Esports, right? I think WE might have outplaced every single player that played for them if AL get knocked out. Because of course, yeah, I believe that's the case. Which again puts into context how good their run's been. WE's run's been. I hope they capitalize on it, you know? Ooh. Maybe I go spear build. Do this. Oh, screw it, we'll freeze it. We're not gonna level up. We're gonna do something different. Do we win this? I don't know if we win this. Maybe we do just about. They definitely outplaced Joma. Yeah, true. Oh, I technically Teachama. Yeah, I guess. Wait, hang on. Wait. Where's Teachama coaching right now? I actually forgot about that. Okay, well, I want both these. I'm not leveling up. This is not something... I typically do, like, hyper level up strats. Wait, no, Oh, AL. Right, gotcha. Cool. Okay, well, at least we're winning early, and now I need to just like perma level up. I need to perma level up. 300 or 5. Ew, I kind of want the extra HP. Well, I've got to take that now is the problem. Okay, that's not bad. That's not a... ooh, we actually take this for gold. Level up, right? Yeah, this is fine. This is actually okay. Oh, 3 multicast, that's good. Curry in LPL stream. Sam and I eat a lot of curry. We make curry is like our favorite food to cook, I think, on the whole. Why am I no longer casting LEC? Because they didn't book me. There's no hard feelings or anything. I mean, yeah, they didn't choose to hire me for this year. I'd love to, but yeah. Irish weapons, we can do this actually. It's because we've got multicast. Maybe that was a mistake actually. I want this. But no, I'd love to. I'd love to go back and cast LEC. I hung out with a lot of the LEC casters yesterday at the LEC studio because it was the. I will pause to check as well. I appreciate you. These spears doing some work. I do actually need to get like a useful spear at some point though. Yeah, sure, why not? Do I get this and go for? No, I don't. Don't even know what this thing does, by the way. Compliment for TFC. Would you like a compliment for yourself or for something else? Can you believe the Jaculov most most significant best of 5 win against a Korean team was KT Rolster World's 2018 quarterfinals? Kind of depressing. I mean, that was the super team. That's very, very impressive. Either. Let me have a think. Ooh, what do I want to do this? Upgrade a rare item? Is that a rare item? I've actually never seen this upgraded, so I'm going to do that. Oh, does that? Wow, that thing levels up real. That thing's nasty. It's like, we want this. Yeah, we want this. Sell that. Level up. Nice. Okay, we're getting pretty close to game now. Any idea what happened to Durnby? I mean, he just did badly on NIP, right, I guess? Oh, we might get outpaced here. Yeah, we get outpaced. That sucks. That's so much, man. Oh no, we actually win. Huh. I am somewhat surprised. You're good, Sam? Yeah, I actually don't think I've ever seen someone as dedicated to a fandom as yourself, TFC. I think that genuinely, like, you are so dedicated to. We can get rid of this now. Actually, we can. This doesn't. Sell this. Well, that applies bleed. We actually want a bleed item. Bleed item's good. Yeah, I've never seen someone as dedicated to like an individual like player as yourself, TFC, and I think that's really admirable. You really stick with the shy through thick and thin.
Oh, how are we feeling, folks?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Everyone enjoy. How are people feeling about the Quickshot collab?
Yeah, I think
I had a great time. I had a lot of fun with
I enjoyed that a lot. I enjoyed that an awful lot.
And it's nice to sort of just do some collaboration stuff with people we really like. Trev's great people.
Yeah, for sure.
Refill my water while I'm at it, thinking about it. But the other side of that as well is like actually just getting some community collaboration stuff. One of the better ways you can grow as streamers is doing cool stuff with other streamers. So
yeah, for sure.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. And again, any feedback is super appreciated because again, it's our first time doing that in a little while.
Yeah.
So if you're saying, hey, this could have been done a lot better, all those kinds of stuff is super helpful, and promise we won't take it badly.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, we're getting destroyed by that. It was incredible. Yeah, well, appreciate you all. Appreciate you all.
Want me to do food later, Alex?
Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm just gonna get some chicken out of the freezer to default.
I'm actually applying debuffs is the problem. To do this. I do want that for the bleed stacking. I think we've been outscaled a bit now. I just don't have any debuffs I'm actually stacking. Yeah, this is not close. Not close at all. Oh, sucks. Okay, back onto stage. Let's And that, change the volumes over. Okay, now we get close to game 3. I mean, it's 3 match points for BLG. LPL long pause league. Oh, it's not that long. Come on. Could be a lot worse. Did you catch the LCS series earlier today? I only saw that. It was kind of like very, very disappointing for Cloud9.
Who ended up getting MVP for game?
Ben.
I mean, not a surprise, he was. But I mean, but in some ways, there was some serious team play to make that happen, right? Because I think AL were in a very good spot in that game, and BLG, as we've been seeing, have been more than willing to put a lot of resources into top side of the map, get their solo lanes fed, play for grubs very aggressively, and then say screw the early dragon, screw the early bot lane. We will use that lead to take over the map. But that takes a very significant level of macro, particularly in the mid game, to leverage the advantages you do have to get into a good spot in game. We are into draft here for game number 3. It is 2-0 to BLG, but anyone's legend have not been without their own moments of serious firepower. The 2-0 in some ways does a disservice to how close this has been. It may well still be a 3-0, because I think AL have lacked the lethality. I don't mean that in terms of the statistic in League of Legends, the attribute. I mean that in terms of that ability to clutch out late game stages, and it hasn't been there around those big later game moments. Right now, AL will first pick the Ezreal. Hope got fed on Lucian and struggled to leverage that later. I won't entirely blame him. I don't think it was all on the Lucian. The rest of the map wasn't setting up for him particularly well, but it's still very frustrating when you're the person with the lead and you're unable to turn that into a game win condition. The response will then be the Karma, which is another one of those very powerful moments.
You can go Jhin with that. You can go Sivir. You've got options. In fact, you might be able to tank 280 carry bands and focus your draft somewhere else. Angie with the 290 stream streak as well. Thank you so much for the store, love. I hope you're having an okay day. Yeah.
Hi, Angie.
Yeah.
Everyone give Angie a happy birthday for the other day as well. Been a few days, yeah.
Oh, Bard is still available. There's no way they take it with the Karma. I was actually wondering whether they'd do like a Karma mid or top or something weird like that. The Bard's going to go over. It's a nasty lane for Annual's Legend, and Kyle, of course, a great player, that champion too. When Annual's Legend are at their best, Tarzan and Kyle are doing some mad work. But it hasn't felt like they've been able to do that today.
This is a complete tangent, but this champion select music is straight out of Mass Effect's Fawn song. It's so good.
It's very synthwave, yeah.
I can't do this on my own. Anyway, moving back to very different. It is M41 by the Fawns. It was M41 Part 2.
Right, gotcha.
By the Fawns. But anyway, moving on to League of Legends, perhaps slightly more important. And again, there's that bar that we've been chatting about. I'm assuming it was just that slight back pedal there with the feeds getting refreshed. Don't worry about it, guys. We are all here and all locked in. I am going to assume now that you're going to want to lock in a jungler, otherwise they're going to start getting banned away. You can also go for a top laner and try and deal with that. But of course, the TF is a flex. Shanks has started playing this again.
Yeah, he has.
And of course, we know that Flandre was always a TF top enjoyer, and it allows you to potentially flex out of a bad lane.
Is Mel strong enough after the nerfs to pick into the Twisted Fate? I guess it can get flexed into top lane. Zeri is not a pick we've seen from Viper this year.
As I was saying, feeling quite good right now from what I've been hearing. She's a good Doran's Helm abuser.
I was thinking more about the Sivir or the Jhin. those would be the big champions there. There you go.
Correct.
The Sivir locks in, called that earlier. That will be the lock-in. Can spell shield the Bard ultimate, and the Ezreal Bard can struggle to shut down the Sivir because you're looking for the poke. She gets the spell shield, she heals up, she pushes you in.
Who did we see the other day lock the Sivir Karma, have the permanent shove, and just decimate the bot lane? Was that an EU game, or was that...
We saw that in LPL.
Yeah, was LPL doing it as well?
I think it was Gala that did it versus BLG.
Yes.
Yeah, they Sivir Karma versus BLG, and they really hurt them. That was Gala's one good game that series, sadly, for him. Of course, JDG now out as well. JDG fell in the last round. I hope Viper Sivir does. I hope Viper does severely well. Oh, I get it now.
The local bruh moment with a local bruh moment. Bruh.
Okay, so Shinzao banned away by BLG. Anything? I mean, another thing too is Nocturne has not been prioritized in this series. Nocturne has been so powerful; it's just not been picked up here.
It implies to me that either both teams are a little bit leery about how much they need to leverage out of that level 1 versus their opposite numbers, who have been some of the more creative junglers in the league, probably the 2 most creative junglers in the league, frankly, and that's quite nervous because again. I was chatting with a couple EU analysts just yesterday during the LEC finals. Got to go along, thanks to G2, which is a good fun time. And we were sort of chatting about, like, yeah, Skimundle Nocturne, not that big a fan of him on it right now. And part of the reason is because you need to not just invade the first camp, you need to fight over all of that first wave of camps if you can.
And I think particularly when we're looking at MSI, I am looking at teams across the world and saying, can you use a Nocturne or something like that? How's your early jungle matchup going? Now, BLG, weirdly, are not the team which always focuses on that the most, but anyone's legend really do. So the Akali band away from Shanks, they're happy to let Tarzan have either Trundle or the Nocturne, which can be pretty nasty into the Jarvan. I mean, the Trundle's a little bit weird into the Jarvan because he can kind of jump away from you, but still, champions to be considered. Bin needs to take a pick, assuming it might have to lane into the Twisted Fate and also take on all comers because it could go into the mid lane as well.
They banned the Vayne because, again, Vayne's actually not awful into TF because you can start, like, you kind of match him range for range and he doesn't like that very much.
You can also just take Cleanse as a top lane summoner and just run at him,
which is really tough. So that's the reason that's going to go down. The lock in the Renekton. The days of Renekton mid have long since passed. We don't have things like Gordrinker or Prowler's Claw, which allowed some of those options to really be a possibility. So most likely that's going top. And there's that Nocturne we've been talking about. Seeing the rest of the draft, they go, you know what, we can get away with this. You have got the TF to join you on your global journeys alongside something like that. But the Arch hovers right now. Things like the Rek'Sai, a consideration for Flandre as well, which I wouldn't hate. I think AOL have got a couple options here, and they will decide to go towards a break glass in case of emergency pick in the Rek'Sai.
Well, they're on death's door now, Sam. There's 3 match points against them. Can anyone's legend work their way out of this one? You know, they haven't got Harbor anymore as the coach. Thinking about a Nidalee jungle for Tarzan. Now, Tarzan is one of the greatest Nidalee players of all time. He does have a gold card in mid lane. He has a Rek'Sai knock-up in top lane, and they lock the Nidalee. They lock the Nidalee. It is all in on Tarzan. It has felt like this split for anyone's legend has been all in on Tarzan. What can he do? Last pick for Knight to see what he can do to buy some pressure in mid lane against the Twisted Fate. I wonder if he does a pushing mage pick here. Could work for him. The Talia wouldn't be bad, actually. You can use that to of course stop the Nidalee from pouncing in and get good wave control early against the Twisted Fate. Whilst also, just a quick reminder, Knight may be the best Talia in the world. This guy is obscenely good. They go for the Mel instead, though. That's the more traditional counter pick into the Twisted Fate. I would have actually quite liked to see the Talia, but this is much more for the individual matchup.
There was half a second there where the Mel was being sat bot, and I was like, I'm assuming that's going to get switched mid, but just holding. This is LPL playoffs, and people have done some weird things already. Shout out on Skarner support. I'd like to turn back onto this Nidalee, which has been a little while since we've seen junglers be able to pull out this champion. I was a little surprised that we hadn't been seeing it, in part because the early jungle invades and jungle advantages have been so important, and one of the greatest champions of all time at taking those early jungle advantages and really putting it to an enemy jungler has been the Nidalee. She historically was one of the worst matchups for Jarvan, unless you get a really good flag and drag from out of vision, because he just steals all your camps. You don't duel with her very well. She's able to pounce away from your engages. She outranges you. Your Cataclysm means nothing to her. You don't really want to have to build loads of MR into her either. It's a tough old time, and she will always be in your face and can outclear and track what you're doing, your early jungle shenanigans, which Jarvan is quite capable of. He is a level 2 gank option. He can full clear. He can do 3 camps and back. He's very flexible in that regard. It's something that the Nidalee can very happily abuse.
So onto the stage, into the game we go. For perhaps the last time today, anyone's legend on death's door, 0-2 down in the series. We were very delighted to be joined by Quickshot for the first 2 games. He's going to go on to do some Counter-Strike after this, so he's going to be making sure that he's over there too. Okay, all right, we'll be continuing on with just us 2. We can hear the gyros.
Oh, level 1, Shun's dead! Oh, the gyros keep rolling and it's immediate chaos. I'd love to let the crowds listen, but they're as shocked as we are. Massive flash knock-up from Flondra gets Tarzan first blood.
Now, Shun is great at playing from a deficit, but you don't want to do it against a Nidalee at level 1. Now, Shun played the Nidalee in their last series versus JDG to great avail. He's going to be slightly delayed on his clear by about 5 seconds. There's a ward onto enemy blue buff by anyone's legend. So what will likely happen is the Nidalee will get level 2 off a red buff, pounce over the back of the pit, and then go in to steal that. There's a chance of that anyway. There is actually a defensive ward for BLG. See how Tarzan is feeling. He's actually going to go for the Krugs. He wants to get as quick a clear as possible and get camps away from Shun.
Barry just got burned by Hope there on the shove, and again, partly because they know where the Nidalee is. They've played with a lot of aggression on this bot side. Shun is trying his best to clear back towards his top side. Looks like the Nidalee has decided, I want to do Krugs. I want to be towards other parts of the map ASAP. Happy enough with the first blood as the advantage. For now, we'll see whether that turns into a fight over blue buff in a minute or 2.
I cannot stress how important that kill is as well, because the Nidalee, which has been showing up a bit in LPL playoffs, of course, Monkey played it versus BLG and versus Nymaera, actually. That was in the game 5. The Nidalee ended up winning, sorry, game 4 rather, which ended up, game 3, which ended up taking them 2-1 ahead. Shun going over towards bot side camps. He's not contesting top side. He's going into enemy blue buff, helped by the fact that his bot lane's pushing in.
As was mid. In fact, every lane's being shoved, which is why I think Shun is happy to do this, and Tarzan wasn't looking for the re-invade. Now in a potentially dangerous spot, Shanks has roamed, so is Kyle. Despite the lane power, they're dropping waves to make this play happen. Fight from BLG and Shun, and the rest of the squad of Shanks gets caught by the Solar Snare on in a slightly precarious spot, has to flash away from a Javelin toss, speed up there with the Inspire, the Mantricue, the flash, stun into the wall with the Cosmic Binding, and they get another kill. AL, the early flips have gone their way.
Well, and Viper doesn't roam up. Viper doesn't come to the play. I don't really know what Shun is doing with that pathing. He does have the flash. Maybe could use that to get out to safety, but now suddenly Honor's paid the price of Shun's quite bold invade. I think that's a big mistake by Shun. Died at level 1, obviously not great, didn't walk up with enough support. It was a great punish by Flondra, but invading right there just felt too far, Sam.
They had shove in every lane, so it has cost AL 10 CS in both mid and bot.
Yes, but BLG don't capitalize well enough, I don't think. I don't think they do. Hope gets the kill, so he's happy with that. He's going to go for a first item tier now at any point he wants. He's got the gold for it off of that kill, and it does feel like, again, Sam, it's gonna be on Knight and Bin to carry BLG out of the rut. The first 2 games are a little bit like that too, where it felt like anyone's legend. We're doing quite well on the rest of the map. Now Kyle could roam mid. Shun is just on the other side of this. Knight just wanting to gets the bar cube back onto Kyle for the wall stun. Rare to see that one. But yeah, anyone's legend getting ahead in the early game through jungle, and Shun, credit to him, he's gonna try and work around some of these early camp respawns again. We'll spot out Tarzan on top side, not giving up in the farm war, but Tarzan is just really strong in the early game on the Nidalee.
And one of the issues of trying to invade Nidalee in a lot of farming junglers, because they clear camps so efficiently and so quickly, you just end up not being able to pick up any camps because they just disappear in a second or 2. All the while, we're now looking towards bot lane here, just for a second or 2, seeing that shove in, and Viper is actually up a lot of farm now.
Yeah, and that's why he didn't roam to the play. Hang on, On's walking behind Hope. Does he have E and Flash? He makes it up if he has E and Flash, but if it's just the E, that could be a problem on cooldown. Has to use the Summoner.
Yeah, that's a nice little pickup. And On has always been one of our best Karmas. Hell, for my money, he was probably the best Karma in the world.
Nidalee coming topside. Bin might have overpushed it. He has flash. Does he have E as well? Flandre could look for the kill hit.
Nidalee looking to take down her old duo partner in the Renekton. Flandre looking for the knock-up. Does get it there. That allowed for a javelin. Does Bin still fairly scary to jump onto. There will be a potential Culver Meek. Gets a decent heal. Flash away. The slice. The dice. Flandre tries to get the praise. The flash forward from Flandre does get the kill. Stunned under turret, though. Not quite enough damage. And Flandre is allowed to pick that one.
That is with information. They have wards on top side. Bin goes down from over pushing. And, you know, we've said that. Hey, look, BLG, teams have tried to punish the overpush before, but, well, you know, if they buy enough time, then it's a bit of an issue. Hope's coming over, On's going low, here comes the TF.
On's going to throw down that tether to buy a little bit of time. Good damage onto Hope, but doesn't have the flash. Five begins to trade well here. Needs to arcade shift over the wall. Shun gets the dragon, gets a big heal from it as well. Now Kyle's engaged the magical journey. Shun goes through it. Now Vipe, On's over here, gets a tether. The golden eclipse rather does help potentially turn this around. 1-for-1 as it stands. Overcomes Tarzan, coming down from that top side of the map. Ends up being real close. Shanks is dead as well. 2-for-1 in favor of BLG. Tarzan might hop over the wall and look for someone. These resets need to be good. On's gonna look for the tether. Missed the javelin toss. Now Tarzan's in danger. Gets tether. The boomerang blade flies, and Tarzan needs to flash back into the dragon pit.
God, Sam, that's the kind of skirmish you just clutch your head and you just feel the stress of it. Anyone's Legend makes some huge mistakes. Kyle uses the magical journey, which gives BLG an escape route. Initially, when I saw it in the back of the dragon pit, I'm like, oh, BLG, that's their bard. I was thinking, but they don't have the bard. It's Kyle's cast that. I think that's a huge mistake, Sam. Knight walks away with a kill and assist. We'll watch it again in the replay. Just look, I understand the thought process. You can kill the Jarvan before the dragon goes down. Maybe. The TF goes through with the gold card. Kyle actually has decent damage early on, and they get him very low HP. See that Shanks and Kyle go low, but giving them the way out means that Tarzan doesn't have the ability to shut down someone in the pit, maybe. Tarzan, of course, then gets one back, but Bard dies on the other side of the fight. BLG walk away pretty happy from that, Sam.
Yeah, and Viper gets a lot of value. I mean, Viper just forcing Hope out of the river with On getting a good focused renewal down felt very, very nice indeed. We'll need to keep an eye on that because, again, one of the reasons I've always loved On the Karma in particular is because he plays it like an engaged champion. He will speed himself up with a self-shield and run at you with the mantra W, that renewal, and just say, break this tether or die, because the CC is strong from Karma. It's good damage too.
Viper's getting pretty fed here, Sam. I know Hope is too, but I'm quite afraid for anyone's Legend that the Civis scales really well and there isn't a great answer for them. I mean, you've got the gold card, you've got the knock-up, you've got the bard ult, but if they're not used within quick succession, one gets spell shielded and you fail the engage. I think if Viper plays this game well, Sam, I don't think there's that much which anyone's Legend can do about it. I don't know if they can really stand at range against the Civic Qs and the Mel damage. I know technically have the Nidalee Spears too, but I think BLG are very happy now the Civ is in a good spot. They're invading onto the red buff, defensive ward there. Pulling it into the bush to try and take it out of vision.
See if they can get the smite down. It'll be a bit of a flip. Does get into the Cataclysm after. Double one on that. Knight's coming out with the Solar Snare. Oh, God, they've gone far too deep. Now, Hope potentially in danger himself. Arcane shift over the wall, but Kyle is then left out to dry. The Reflect comes down. Mel has a firm rebuttal for the Bard, and largely it comes back with a death sentence.
Knight triple kill. The Mel's online too. I love how Shun played that. We saw this earlier in the day, but Shun is the kind of player who doesn't really change his mindset when he falls behind in a game. He will always be there to make the play, and it's the correct one at this point. He gets the Cataclysm in front of heavy damage from BLG's carries, and anyone's Legend, they had a golden opportunity, Sam. You shut down Shun twice in the early game. They had a Nidalee who seemed like they were going to get off to a great start. They're now down 10 CS. Yeah, they're ahead a little bit in terms of gold, but I think Shun is more than happy. A Jarvan is ahead in XP compared to the Nidalee. I know camps will get taken. Anyone's Legend, the plan's going awry.
They're going to look for this invade here. They're working across a lot of vision. Shanks is also roaming. Tarzan wants to finish up this Grump and should be able to do so. It'll just turn into a vision contest. This looks pretty excellent for BLG. They're actually off to an early gold lead, which hasn't been a guarantee across these last couple games. We'll have a look back at this replay. Shun drags the red buff all the way back over here. Tarzan has no idea what's happening. The smite fight goes away with Shun. Flash from on Cataclysm, and it just goes real wrong, real fast. Hope is just not there in time.
No, and the damage has already come through. Nidalee, if she's taking a full Jarvan combo and the Cataclysm while there's a carry nearby, is a horrible fight. Nidalee is not meant to be tanking more than one person, because sometimes you win those duels. You win those duels, especially in the early game. Grub's now getting taken. Real credit to BLG and the mental fortitude they've built up. I think, you know, you go back to BLG last year when they had different junglers. Shun would struggle with this kind of situation. Even back in 24 and 23, Shun struggled being put behind sometimes by players like Kanavi, by Ona at some points internationally, Tarzan at points too. There were definitely moments for BLG's rosters of old where On and Shun, if they fell behind, would just collapse. They'd capitulate. I think the biggest change to BLG in their players which were homegrown. I mean, I know Shun had the year on IG and On had the year on Weibo. Realistically, BLG's jungle support, the duo which they've kept along for such a long time, the way they've grown the most has been in their mindset and their ability to see through the rough early games and still be big playmakers later.
Okay, Knight now very, very fed. Of course, the last time we saw the Mel, there was a 12-1 Mel that still lost from Knight. It's one of those champions where sometimes the early snowball very strong. The W's not the oppressive part of this kit, guys. It's the early snowball that's pretty bloody ridiculous, and the pretty oppressive chunking that she does. It gets a little harder if she starts having to go backwards in team fights. She's not very long range. Play into the river here. Destiny into gate. Gold card onto On. The flag I drag through 3. Shun defends his support, but maybe not enough. They have lost the Karma, but Shun gets gold carded. Hope buys some time. The flag comes down regardless. The golden eclipse is there, and On's life is paid in blood.
Shun gets a triple knockup after getting first blooded after dying on the dragon despite securing it. I did wonder what would happen to him. It's a great play, Sam. BLG rally around their jungler and make the big play happen. Tarzan is still alive. Flandre is teleporting down to the bot side of the map, has the Titanic Hydra. So Dragon will go to anyone's legend, but they need a gold lead with this comp, Sam. Simply getting a dragon is not enough for them.
And Bin's just pinging tops. And yeah, okay, Flandre's turned up there. He's got no teleport. There's no one else who can join because there's no TP or ult and Shanks. So that's another couple plates to Bin, who is now up 20 CS. He's now 4, you know, despite being down a kill and an assist, is up 400 gold and half a level.
And Knight's 5-0. He is 5 kills deep on the Mal, Sam. That is the Ludens. It is a 10... Sam, he's got a 10-stack Dark Seal at 12 minutes.
Oh, God.
That's like... that's what I aim for in solo queue. You know, that's what you're doing, you know, for early game stacking. Legitimately, he should Magize right now. The movement speed is so incredible, and it's a very gold-efficient item. Legitimately, next item should be the Magize. He's gone for the Alternator instead. I actually think that should have been a Magize upgrade. Yeah. I think he's in perfect position to snowball to hell.
Go. Look where Shun is. Tarzan also around, but Tarzan doesn't necessarily have the power to turn this one around. The flag, the drag, a flash from On, who'll be looking for a tether. Shanks doesn't break it. Just about sped up and away. And they'll get away. On blows the flash, but so does Shanks.
Yeah, and I think it's more important that Shanks blows that flash because now he really can't play against the Mal. Very hard to play against the Jarvan without flashes too. This is cooldown economy. Now, if you are new to the LPL or you're watching it, because Quickshot was here, and again, great to have Trevor in. One of the things we've been trying to educate LPL viewers on is how it's not just crazy fighting all the time. On flashes because he knows that Shanks without flash is vulnerable to the Jarvan.
There's another potential tether. The rebuttals there, the solar snare. Knight gets another, and that feels like I'm going to be saying that sentence quite a lot. And you know what else might be happening quite a lot? Another rocket belt, Alex. Yeah, the rage belting will continue until morale improves. That is going to be a moat, guy. I'm going to make it happen.
I am getting rage belted on cooldown apparently every single game. Like, wow, great Magi's angle, optimal builds. Knight loves building it. Even Knight has fallen prey to the belt meta. When they said bring out the belt, I didn't think they'd mean it in this way, Sam.
No.
There's a cooldown. No, sadly there isn't a cooldown. I'm just doing that to make myself feel better. You know? Yeah, everyone can build it at any moment. You just have no idea. There's a Nidalee with Proto Belt first. You know, anyone can build it. You're not safe from it.
I mean, Nidalee's a really good abuser of Rocket Belt.
No, yep. Nidalee's good for that. Yeah, that one's fair. And in fairness, I actually don't mind it on Mel either. There are some champions I don't mind it on. Immobile mages, I mean, even on someone like Victor we saw in LEC, I don't mind it on that either. It's a very efficient item, gives you HP, gives you cooldown, gives you AP, and it gives you that mobility, which is very helpful. Just don't put it on the hang on a second.
Hope.
Instant death. No flash, well pushed up. I think this is where
Viper's
anyone's.
running at this.
I think this is where anyone's legend story ends, Sam.
Shun's coming on over. Viper baits in a potential 2v3. Viper's dead. Well, okay. Both AD carries have a moment, but Shun was at least there to defend this one. So it does end up getting traded quite well. Bin's TP'd in. The gold card will buy some time, but there's a flash, a slice, a dice, a culling of the meek. And the Ruthless Predator will help stun up Shanks, and they will pick up another. Viper trades his life for the play.
What a stat check from Shun. Just walks up and says, okay, Viper's gone too far, but I'm fed.
See? Yeah.
I'm really fed. Bin teleports in 2. He's got a full stack cult. Sam, the gold lead from Bin was like 400. It's now almost 2,000. In fact, if he takes this, it will be a true 2,000 gold lead. Knight's done that through just raw bloodshed by getting 6 kills on the Mal. Knight is currently alone on top side.
Look, Knight's alone on top side, but I want to have a bit more of a draft discussion here because AL tried something different. They went for more volatility in their drafts. They went for more lane dominance in their drafts. They were not playing for drafts like they were the last couple games, which allowed them to play for those team fights very aggressively. This game needed them to get Tarzan in a lead, to play with the Nidalee, play with the TF. That hasn't happened, and hell, it's played into BLG's hands. Herald fight coming.
Yeah, teleport coming in from Knight. Anyone's legend have tried everything in the playbook against BLG on alone on the side. Hope going through. Herald goes down.
There's Knight who's going to look for their solo snares. Quite fine at Flandra. TP's in with a big old shield and manages to just speed himself away. AL can't find the pick they're looking for. BLG don't necessarily turn for a fight, but they do get the eye of the Herald, and that puts him to a great spot. Have a look at this replay again because Hope just gets annihilated.
I'm going to imagine he just didn't have E. Just exploded way too far. Viper goes through the magical journey, uses the spell shield early. It is too far. It is too far. He thinks he can find himself a kill on the isolated Bard. Can't get that in time. I really appreciate the follows, by the way. Everyone who's followed and subscribed during the stream makes a big difference to us. Of course, big shout out to Quickshot as well. Hope that you enjoyed his contributions to the stream, and we'll do that again sometime. I will do that again sometime. Mid lane turret goes down with the use of that Herald. Anyone's legend have tried everything. They've tried bot lane snowball. They have tried non-volatile top lanes. They've tried jungle invades. And they've done that with Big Way, the coach which has coached BLG for the last 2 years. They have all of the familiarity. BLG are just simply too good.
On a flank, on spin chunk pretty low, but Shun's going to face check him and say, you will not get through here for free. Gets a knock up. There's a tempered fate on 2, that's pretty good value, and gets Flandra out to save. But now Bin's on the flank, looking with that dominance to find a ruthless predator. Shun goes in, flashes out, the Cataclysm into the Radiant Volley, takes Bard's head off. I've been saying that a few times over the last few weeks, and it remains the truth. The guillotines will continue. Executions in the mid lane.
Yep, AL look for the flank. I really love how BLG respond to the flanking Rex side. They don't give them the easy knock-up. Shun body blocks them, and Flandra doesn't have the flash to confirm it. Dragon is alive. There's a respawn coming through. I actually think BLG lose the Dragon here because they lose too much HP. No matter, they get the gold. AL do get themselves that Dragon. It's something, but it's not the monetary value they wanted.
No, and it at least stops the soul point. They get towards their own win condition. Infernal Soul, when you've got a potential outrange comp later with Nidalee, with TF wildcards, with the Ezreal throwing out those mystic shots. Maybe that's a way to come back in. I'm still not a massive fan because I don't see a particularly good front line here. I think their ability to actually hold the distance this game is going to be very hard. Into Sivir speed up, Karma speed up, and all of the full engage send. Like, yeah, you can stand at distance, but how quickly can BLG close it with this composition? But maybe.
And I think the terrifying thing for anyone's legend is that BLG also scales better. The Mel and the Sivir have an easier time of making things work. It's not like AL don't have plays they can make. If Flandra gets a flash knock-up, if Shanks finds someone isolated, yeah, you can kill someone. But BLG should be expected to do better in late game. Even the Renekton, with this amount of gold, can kind of stat check the entirety of anyone's legend, Sam. I think particularly with the Ezreal being quite far behind, I don't really think they cleanly kill the Renekton, who's building towards maybe the Shojin second item. We'll see what he builds into completely. I mean, he's happy to just build some HP, really. He'll be happy with it.
Sterax is what he's gone towards, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Between that and the Merc Treads, the tenacity reduction is pretty good, of course. He's kind of the main frontline. I know Shun's there as well, strictly, but he's going to go towards the Black Cleaver. And that makes some sense, right? I think Bin knows his job this game, and that is to get in there and stay in there, and the tenacity will help because, again, there is enough CC here that tenacity would be quite valuable, I think.
Carries are all at least 1,000 gold ahead. The solo laners are 2,000 gold ahead. apiece. BLG, this reminds me a little bit of 24 BLG, again, where BLG in this series have had a lot of different strategies thrown at them. Anyone's Legend have not come in empty-handed. They have come in with ideas. None of the ideas have worked because BLG are too good. Flandra has to flash the knock-up. There's gonna get trapped in the Cataclysm as Knight walks over.
Knight rolls up with a Solar Snare. Dodge there with a good Void Rush. The problem is it's a rush straight into a speeding car, and the car crash only goes one way, apparently, and that's BLG who are quite happy to deal with that one. Armored car.
Yeah, there's been a breakdown on the subway. The Deutsche Bahn have said that there's works on the line as the car's been taken off the rails. Spell shield onto the car thrown out.
That was
by
a
Shanks.
much better option than my one. Thank you for recovering that reference.
I can't even remember what you were trying with. Hang on, that has to be the McHale's used there. Kyle Shanks is hanging out in the brush. Not bad damage back there, actually.
Yeah, again, they do. Theoretically, AL have got very good poke on very low cooldown. The problem is, they never got to the point where they got to abuse that. They might be able to run at Knight here. Good rebuttal. Tarzan going to start hopping forward. TP behind. Rocket Belt. Knight's still going to flash out of the Tempered Fate. Unlike Gala just the other day, Shank's still here with the gold card. Flashes to get it. Stun into the wall. Knight likely dies. That is pretty good going.
That's a big overextension from Knight. It's a big investment for Anyone's Legend, but can they turn that into a Baron? First death onto the Mel. It was too far. Ben's going to ult to make sure the wave is destroyed here. Anyone's Legend, good pick off. They're not completely out of this yet. Obviously not in a great spot. Knight loses the flash with 8 kills in on that. You know, the Medjai's movement speed, Sam. Who knows what could have happened? This Proto Bolt dash, yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint, Sam.
Well, either way, doesn't quite make it out there. Still, yes, the Gala call-out was there. Because, bluntly, if you're going to have both summoners up in multiple fights and not flash a Tempered Fate 4 fights in a row, then I will call you out on that. That, I think, is perfectly reasonable. Lich Bane's done for Tarzan. In fairness to Tarzan, he's 1,000 gold up still. Look, Shun's had a great game, I think, considering the early deficit. Again, one of the reasons we really rate Shun at the minute is his resilience is remarkable. It's very hard to take this player out of the game, but still, Tarzan plus Shanks now with the Lich Banes. The burst is beginning to get there from AL.
So BLG need to make sure that they're disciplined. They're not leaving openings on the map. I mean, it was a good ult from Kyle. It was a good teleport coming through as well. Shanks had to flash for it. Now he's going to be flashless against the Cataclysm. That potentially is an issue. Viper at 2.5 items. Slightly more expensive items, I believe, actually, than the Triforce Muramano, which are pretty expensive themselves. Dragon in less than a minute. Bin spots Shanks out here, and he doesn't have flash.
And Viper dodged every skill shot so far. Now Shanks is in so much danger. The Boomerang Blaze there. Flash from Bin, and he'll ensure the Dominus plus that. Culling of the Meek will continue. Flandra stunned up. The Tempered Fate lands onto Shun. Maybe not the best target of all time, but it is done. The poke. Still a little bit obnoxious here from AL. Hope is doing a fair amount of work here with Tarzan, looking for those javelin tosses, but the feet and the hands on those mice are enough to dodge away from the majority of them so far.
Well, that's the cost for killing Knight in mid lane. They don't have the flash on TF, dies. Now, Bin's used his own flash, tower goes down. The gold is more in favor in BLG than it was. 10 seconds on Dragon now. TF is still dead.
Hang on, Hope, what? Just ends up stuck there in the mid lane. Out comes the Golden Eclipse, and Hope turns to despair.
Okay, I was looking at the mini-map, and I didn't see what Hope got hit by. Was he hit by the long-range Mel E? I presume he just dies to Knight's long-range skill shot. Hope goes down 1 and 3 on his best champion this split.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was a tether from On as well.
No, he wasn't close enough for that one.
It was still pretty rough to see. I want to say he was actually recalling there, but that's bloody awful either way. And that'll be Dragon going over to BLG, like it was beforehand. I think Alex can have a quick look and see what it was. All the while, I'll note that AL have managed to take this opportunity to stop Viper's back. He's down at half HP.
Yeah, it was just a Mel. Mel E hits him at long range and he dies. That's legitimately it. Knight kills Elk. It's not Elk. Oh gosh, Hope. Sorry, I just see these champions. I'm like, wow. Yeah, Hope goes down.
Knight's gone for Lich Bane third, by the way, for additional bit of upfront burst. The move speed's also really good. There's a bit of CC on the Tarzan, who goes golden, but I think he might be claiming silver this time around. The Cataclysm again is multi-man. Shun just about left. They body blocked the Mystic shots to keep him that way. Flandra has turned up. It's only the 1 kill, and again, AL still able to do enough damage here that I think BLG might be a little leery of starting Baron. Bin. That said, Knight is over the back of the Baron bit and threatening some more.
Yeah, the Lich Bane's for the movement speed. I think it's for the movement speed. It gives you the 6% now. I can tell you what else gives you movement speed is a Magi's.
Back to 10 stacks again, so you can
Magi's Lich Bane is one of the most powerful duo items in the game. I love building it on Ahri because it means that even without using dashes, you're so hard to close down, and then when you use your dashes or your big skills, you're in a better position to use it, and the enemy player is kind of has that subliminal pressure put onto them because they're so outspeeded, really. Knight has the Magi's left. He has the Magi's Lich Bane. The reason he's doing this is now he has a permanent 16% move speed increase. You have your W for extra movement speed as well. Knight is very, very fast. This is the best build on champions like Ahri as well, but champions like Mel, typically very immobile, having a protobelt on double move speed items is legitimately game-changing.
And you've got a Sivir with ult behind you. You've got a Karma, who I suspect will be pulling up a Shirelius at some point this game as well. Your move speed differential will be very, very high, and if you're going to trust someone to just use move speed to out-hands check someone, Knight will do it. We remember those conversations about Faker doing that a decade or so ago. Other players have learned the ways since then.
Yeah, 2016, Faker, just give him move speed, carry a game. 2015, 2014, 2013, all of them really. Give you that. Now with Knight with this kind of move speed means that if the TF doesn't port into a really good spot, he just run away from them. Spell shield onto the Bard, ults.
Put a stun there on Shim, but he gets to back away just fine. I'm noting again, Knight at 10-1. My days, this Mel is unbelievably fed. You know, normally we see TFs ahead in gold because they print money quite literally with the stack deck passive. Not today. No. Not in tonight. Bin's just picked up a death stance, so he's even harder to kill between the double tenacity and that additional bit of ability to shrug off the poke and the burst. There's the Shirelias from On. You want move speed, you've got move speed. Kyle, he's desperate to find some vision, and Shum was just waiting.
Knight even gets this reflected spear onto Tarzan, pops the ult, and Tarzan loses a third of his HP. So that's just a dead support. Kael last year, I think, was the best support within the LPL. This year, without Tabe behind anyone's legend, they've not been able to get the engine running, whereas BLG are firing on all cylinders. Teleport into the pit, Baron contest coming through.
Knight's going to throw down the rebuttal, flash for the gold card, flash away from Knight. Now Bing goes in with all that move speed. Shirelli is active and Shanks goes down. Tarzan needs to keep running away. That little Google knife is the most fun as Hope. Desperate to arcade shift to get anything. But Viper tosses out the boomer and it comes back with Hope's corpse attached. Bin on the other side looking to potentially slice over the wall. Will dice away and gets a big old shield from a Mantra E. The Inspire will ensure that Renekton gets out safe.
Anyone's legend didn't come into this series without inspiration and without ideas. They're just simply getting outplayed too much. The gold lead is too much.
He's 1v3.
He's in a 1v3, and Sam, I think he likes those odds.
Oh, I think he does. The Sterex procs on the slice, some more dominance, the knockup. Knight's here. Bing gets one. He's got a void rush towards him. He's still alive. Finally, he falls, but the Crocodile Raid boss brings down the whole of AL's party. I just came off the Final Fantasy 14 World Race. That looks like they found another ultimate raid to go through.
Well, he looked laughing mad for a second there. I think he's pretty happy to be the person who's not on the end of that joke, though. Knight initially, bad face check, does end up reflecting the Ezreal Q rather than the gold card. Has enough smooth speed in the flash, though, and Shanks is out of range that they can't capitalize. Thought initially that could have been the mistake, which allowed anyone's legend into a good position. Hope gets massively DPS checked. Tries his best, not bad combo from him, but against the Civ with this many items and a Karma behind them, yeah, good luck with that. Bin, I mean, what an insane plane for him to end it out, though. We were worried that the Renekton might just stat check. He eats an Italy spear. It doesn't matter. He gets a 3-man Q for the healing. The Conqueror gets stacked so quickly. The Sterex gives him the extra staying power. Flashes for the E2. Tarzan cannot do anything but run. They do end up getting the kill back onto him, but at what cost? Baron's down, Dragon's up, BLG, huge control.
I'm going to pick up Soul Point here as well. AL are nowhere near in position to contest, and just look at the individual gold leads at this point. Viper is happily at 3.5 items, 2.7k ahead. Knight is 4.6 thousand gold ahead of a Twisted Fate, who's been farming just fine and has got a 24 stack Magi's. Never mind Gigabin, who at this rate is getting upgraded to Terrabin, a reflect on the True Shot Barrage. Tags Hope, his own skill shot. Shun does flag and Dragon. He's got a GA. I don't think he's at massive risk here. He does flag back towards the The rest of the team, a little bit bold. He'll be all right.
Is this 30 HP? Let's get Viper's going deep.
Oh
Might just
my
kill
God.
Kyle himself.
Oh, there goes Viper to follow, and the Cassiopeia was played in game 1. It turns out the real serpent was in BLG's bot lane all along. They'll break down AL. The rest of the series has been close. Quickshot leaves, and it suddenly turns into a Billy Gaming slaughterfest. They hang him up on the meat hooks, aged well, and ensure they will be going on for a vengeance match against WE next weekend.
BLG take down their old coach and make anyone's legend into just another footnote in their own story.
The golden road will continue. They stumbled once in the upper bracket. It just made them angry. They turn up next weekend and they will smile that shark's grin at WE. Look who's coming back for round 2.
We have our lower bracket final matchup. BLG will play a best of 5 against WE for MSI berth. And they'll go into the finals if they win to face off against top esports waiting there. Anyone's Legend was simply second best today. It was just not close. They tried 3 different strategies and 3 times they failed. BLG, clearly the better team, and the jewel from Anyone's Legend will be interred onto that trophy. BLG keep theirs attached to their captain's chest for now. Knight will take that little symbol of Anyone's Legend's demise, put it onto the trophy. Just another team that falls along the wayside.
Everyone else is just paving that road to victory. Footnote, perhaps, quite literally. Underneath the heels of BLG and the rest of the teams remaining, our final teams in the LPL Spring Playoffs will be top esports awaiting the finals, WE, who will stare down against the team they kicked down to the lower bracket. In BLG, Anyone's Legend bow for the final time this split. Their dreams of MSI ended.
Well, if you've enjoyed today's stream, whether it was with us or with Quickshot earlier as well, please drop a like, a follow, subscribe, and if you want to see more content like this, please think about, clipping stuff out of the stream, talking about it on social media, and of course, coming back for more. We'll be back with LPL next weekend. Been flexing the muscles there a bit. I'll be streaming a little bit during the midweek. I'm doing some non-LPL stuff, so tune in here when you can. And yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you. We wouldn't do this if we didn't have you as part of our LPL community. The LPL as a community is one which has suffered a lot over the last few years. We lost our official broadcast. It's been hard to find a home with all of these split co-streams as well. We're trying to create our own little corner of the LPL community, and we're very glad to welcome you into it.
And with that in mind as well, guys, a little bit of a shout at my own end. Obviously, I've just come off doing the Final Fantasy 14 World Race there. Kefka finally fell yesterday evening. Congratulations to DN, who cleared that one on stream the first as well. Really good work from them. It was a very close run thing. But one of the charity goals, as we raised well over $100,000 for kids in hospitals, which is a remarkable achievement, was we raised, I think it was $5,000 in about 40 minutes while I was on stream for the first time, and the prize of doing so was that I now owe chat a full Final Fantasy 14 playthrough, but with some cosplay requirements. So I will now be doing a Bunny Thancred Final Fantasy 14 playthrough on my own stream at some point. So please make sure to come and tune into that. And if anybody is a Final Fantasy 14 enjoyer and wants to come join me and play some 14, that'll be starting over this week as well. So if we want to do some... If you want to do some 14 with me, you can get a little free company started. It'd be a good time if people want to come join me on that one, because again, I owe it all for charity anyway, so come say hey, it should be a really good time.
Very cool. Well, TAC is a big 14 player to see that as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Not really sure what we're going to do with the rest of the day.
Thank you, Parky, by the way, for the gift subs at the end. I appreciate the pennies.
Gift subs there. Yeah, I appreciate everyone. Everyone give Quickshot a follow as well. He'll be doing some extra LPL content, and hopefully we'll get to team up with that. Like we said, we might be able to do something in person. We'll have to figure out the ins and outs of production. It's a thing, trying to do it in a bedroom, quite hard to do it. We can figure it out. Anyway, maybe first day of regular split, but maybe first day back for LPL, we can do something special. That'll be a good time to do it. But yeah, for now, we'll chill out. We'll watch the player of the game, the player of the series, and then we'll go on our way. What's your plan, Sam?
I probably would get some recording done today. I was thinking about streaming, but I think with the amount I've been doing over the last few days, probably sensible if I give myself a little bit of a vocal break. Because I've got some more recording to do today. I'll probably make us some lunch, is probably what I'll do.
Perfect, cool. Let's look at these post-game stats. I'm going to imagine there are some horrific damage numbers from the solo laners. Yeah. I mean, Knight was on something else on that, Mel. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh, anyone's legend. They just weren't good enough, were they? I think that they just didn't know how to approach the early fights. I think that on the whole, I'm trying to think if there was any one player that got massive. Well, I mean, Knight was far better than Shanks, but I don't even think Shanks played like terribly. Hope wasn't great. Was it all on him? No. I think that BLG's drafts were... They knew how to play them better. The solo lane diff was kind of intense. Just randomly getting 1,000 gold leads from solo lanes like this is kind of untenable. Oh, gosh. Oh my gosh, Mech, I just missed that too. Thank you so much for the 50 gift bomb. Gosh, tell you what, I'm running out of energy a little bit, folks. It was a late night last night, and of course, I did some prep for this series. I made sure that like we had like a prep doc written up. I don't normally do that for LPL, but I stayed up late to do that one. And yeah, it was a really cool experience today, folks. Thanks to you everyone for that, and thank you so much for the gift bomb, Mecha. Keeping our rent paid. Really, really appreciate you. Hope that everyone enjoyed, as always. I guess we'll raid over to Quickshot, pay back the love. Really appreciate him doing that. In fact, hang on, let me just see how many viewers we got right now, because I like to keep it over 100 average if we can. We have that, that's all good. And yeah, if anyone needs a new browser or was just interested in trying out something new, please think about downloading Opera GX through our donation, like our affiliate link as well. Makes a big difference to us. Gosh. Actually, thinking about it, I'm just thinking about it again. Hope did make some pretty huge errors. Hope was the worst player in AL, and it sucks to say that, but like the Ezreal, getting caught out in bot lane, getting hit by random E in mid lane, that stuff just wasn't acceptable, was it? Oh, gosh. I don't know. I don't know what happens to anyone's legend. I don't know whether they can continue with this roster. I think the problem for anyone's legend is, with the removal of lane swaps, this team got fundamentally broken. I think that they're playing with a weak side top laner and a weak side bot lane. They don't know where to put resources. They must have intricate, powerful level ones. Otherwise, it feels like this team just fundamentally doesn't function. Yeah, I think that there is no one to put resources to in the current meta. It's a big difference. It's a big problem for them. The removal of lane swaps killed this team, and I think it doesn't help that. Yeah, it doesn't help that they can't escape those bot lane laning phases now, or the top lane laning phases, really. I think losing Tabe just really, really hurts. There is no strategy left for it now. Okay, I guess we'll have... So Shin gets player of the game. Great game on the job, and he deserves it. I think he tanked the early deficit and did so well with it. I would have voted for him too, despite the gold leads on Bin and Nye. I think it really was about Shun overcoming the early deficit. He died early. He didn't let that get to him. I think Shun of 23 or 24 might have done. Not this version of Shun. I think he was excellent. We'll wait for player of the series, and then we'll raid over to Quickshot. Appreciate each and every one of you again. Yeah, folks. Keep your eyes on my Discord. I will be streaming at some point this week. I haven't decided what I'll do. I might end up streaming some variety because there's a couple of games I gotta finish. I'm gonna sneeze. I did take my antihistamine. It's just not enough in this weather sometimes. We'll wait for the player of the series. We'll raid over. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time. is our player of the series. Player of the series is Bin. Fantastic on all 3 games. I think he deserves it. Yeah, he was excellent. Flandra couldn't hold a candle to him. Okay, folks, we'll end it there. We'll raid over to Quickshot. Really appreciate every single one of you joining us, as always, and we'll see you next time.